Struggling to get your business online? At Domains2U, we make it easy with fast domain registration, powerful web hosting, and top-tier security solutions. Our hosting solutions ensure speed, security, and reliability with 99.9% uptime and daily backups. Find the perfect domain name and get online in minutes. Get started today at domains2u.com.au.
Good evening, race fans. Bonsoir, and welcome to the grand finale of the Domains2U GT3 Championship, Season 3 of this championship presented by MC Motorsport, and of course brought to you right here on Simple Racing Broadcast. Tonight the curtain will fall on this season at the historic Circuit de Nevers Magny-Cours as we reach the final round, and the showdown is upon us this evening. Set in the heart of France, Magny-Cours is a technical and flowing circuit. It was once home to Formula One, but now it'll be the battleground where we crown a champion here this evening, with a mix of high-speed corners, heavy braking zones, and a few sneaky little elevation changes in there. This track will be as demanding mentally as it is physically for our drivers. We've had 7 rounds of intense GT3 action. It is all coming down to this tonight. The championship is absolutely on the line. For a couple of our drivers, it is now or never, so expect drama, tension, and every ounce of skill that these racers can muster as they chase glory in the season finale here tonight. My name is Jared Cole. On behalf of everyone at the Simple team, welcome back to our coverage, and I'm joined once again in the booth by Dean Biggles Hopton. Biggles, it's been a pretty full-on season. We're finally here. It's the last round. I don't know about you, but I cannot keep myself from getting a little bit excited about what we might just see here this evening.
Yeah, exactly. The drivers have grilled their way through this championship, and it's going to come down to this. It always has to have a finale, of course, and you want to have a good, strong race, regardless of where you are really in the championship. That you might gain a couple of places. You might even secure the championship as well, too. But at the end of the day, you just got to reflect your season and go, let's just bring it home. Let's see Barney, and let's have some fun.
Absolutely. Tonight's race format, we are back to a more standard format after our 2-hour enduro at Daytona last week. Race 1 will be 16 laps. Race 2, double the distance, 32 laps with the reverse top 10 grid. The weather right now, a cool 21 degrees, 27 degrees Celsius, the track temperature. A bit of humidity around, and the forecast tonight, Biggles, it looks very much like we're going to see quite a bit of water on the track a little later on. The clouds are threatening, and they are on their way. I don't know how far through we're going to get before the heavens open tonight, and that is going to bring a whole different element to our coverage this evening.
Yeah, it looks like we're locally at the moment about almost 4 p.m. track time, but if we scoot on down to 6:30 p.m. or so, 7 p.m. later on, which could affect the second race, that's when those heavens might open at the moment and rain down these drivers, cool them down a little bit after a grueling season.
Yeah, look, it will absolutely be a very interesting way for us to finish it off. Open qualifying going on right now. You can see the drivers out on track in the background. We'll go check out some of that action shortly. But before we do that, Biggles, let's take a look at these championship standings as we come to the final round. And I tell you what, barring something catastrophic, and I'm well aware of the commentator's curse that I probably just dropped on him, but barring something catastrophic, Jeremy Washington should walk away with the championship tonight. However, it's not all over yet. Reese Wakefield, only 43 points, if my math is any good, behind. 100 points in each race on the line tonight. And remember, of course, if Jeremy Washington, for whatever reason, doesn't see the checkered flag in either race, he will receive no points for that particular race event. So it's not impossible. Reese Wakefield will be giving it everything he's got. And of course, if Jeremy Washington doesn't manage to finish one of these races, Biggles, then Danny P might even sneak in a second as well.
Absolutely, very true. Yep, and that's what it's all about too. So you've got to get for obviously, JW is holding all the ace cards here. He can play it safe. He can just cruise on there and just get himself a nice little top 10 finish on both races, and I think it might secure the deal. But it's easier said than done. You still want to put yourself up the front of the field, don't you? Accidents are going to be caused generally behind you. If you're at the front, you really got nobody to worry about until you got lap cars. So that's the situation, of course, for JW. For the rest of these drivers, Reese and Danny P, mate, they've got to get up the front row. They've got to get maximum points and then just see what happens with the rest of the field. Let that championship kind of pan itself out. But you've got to put yourself in the right position to maximize your points to have any hope.
Absolutely. And don't count out Kyle Ridley or Josh Benno either. They are hovering in 4th and 5th, but not far at all behind. They could sneak in a podium here in the championship this evening. Plenty left to play for. Let's go down and check out some of the qualifying action as the drivers are doing their best to set themselves up on the grid this evening. It's going to be a cracker of a night, Biggles. Let's go down to the track, and we'll have a bit of a hello to the main man, Jeremy Washington, as we get on track right now. And he is out there putting in his best effort right now, almost a half second off Reese Wakefield's top qualifying time though, which is that's a quick time, no denying it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's all. As I was going to say, if you're an Australian, and spoiler alert, if you haven't if you haven't seen the Spanish GP, then just tune out this for a second. Oscar really nailed it on his teammate, didn't he, when it came to that qualifying session, by about 2/10 or whatever like that, and then of course went on and dominated the race for the Aussies. Oi. Hopefully we get another Aussie winning a championship leading up to that this year. But that is a big margin, half a second at the moment. But remember, it's only early days still of qualifying, so now it's time to get the bank around. But the biggest difference too is traffic, my friend. Again, they will just hug themselves like magnets on the track. That literally about three or so sectors currently at the moment, zero traffic on.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting track in terms of just how spaced out the drivers can get around here. As we've seen Dean Jacobson cross the line, and again he's quick this week. He put an absolute flyer of a qualifying lap last week, puts himself up into 5th in the BE Electrical Race on Oz Porsche, and look, certainly not holding anything back here either. Dylan Thomas crosses the line and improves his best, but still sitting in 21st in the Fishy Motorsports Mustang. This is a really interesting track, Biggles. The thing that I find most challenging about it for the drivers is where that control line is, where the start-finish line actually is. As Danny P sets the second fastest, bumps Jeremy Washington to 3rd. The control line is just after that final chicane, and it means that there really is no run. Basically, if you can get that line right, there's going to be no opportunity to overtake from the final corner to the line for anyone here tonight as we get towards the end of the racing. So we'll have to wait and see. Have a look at this as Reese Wakefield comes through that final chicane, and that's the control line there. So the start line, when they do grid up, all the way up here under the lights, but the control line for the timing is right back at the start of the front straight. It's a very, very interesting layout here at Magny-Cours, and certainly one we'll be looking forward to seeing if that does play any part at all in tonight's drama, let's say. I just don't know what to expect. But Reese Wakefield out there looking to improve his best time.
Yeah, he's got his steering wheels in the background there. You can see in his picture there, and his multiple screens set up. It's similar to Spa, really, isn't it? As you come out of the bus stop and you've got a short little run across the line. It's even shorter here, but it just means you're going to have anybody doing a late send to try to door bang their way across the line would be an interesting situation, especially this late in the championship too, if you're going to be risking it literally for a biscuit. Remember, between reverse grid too for the second feature race, so there might be some little bit of battles occurring around that 9th and 10th place as well too there, Jared.
Yeah, plenty to play for right throughout the field. We've of course been concentrating on the battle at the front end of the field, but plenty going on, and everything to play for here tonight. Of course, it's not just about the podium positions, it's also the battle for a bit of pride further back in the pack as well. So we'll keep an eye on as much of that as we can this evening. And we're just watching Ryan Palmer from ADHD Racing and making his way around right now. Trev Mortimer about to cross the line. He improves his time, jumps up to 19th position just ahead of Charlie Milliken. Hoping for a better night tonight for Mortimer. He's had a couple of unlucky weeks where he's just been in the wrong place at the wrong time and has ended up copping quite a bit of damage. So he'll be looking to keep it clean here tonight in the Road Racing Australia Mercedes. He's hoping, right? Yeah, he certainly has been. Yeah. He's had a decent run of pace, so we're hoping he can get a decent result here tonight. Nathan Allen jumping into the chat briefly. I'm not sure if I've missed a message there or something, but his correctness to mug. I assume he's talking about perhaps Reese Wakefield's mug from before. Who knows?
Oh, here you go. We've got 4 drivers at the moment still yet to set time, and they're going to get a cracker on at the moment. That's the boss man as well too, Mitch Curry. He's out on track at the moment on his out lap, I believe, at the moment. James Lawrence, Nathan Allen, and Pete. So got to get a time in first. Get that banker on the board there, gentlemen, so that you can get yourself a couple more in the bag there. But at the moment, as you can know, that Reese Wakefield with that 3/10 gap, but I'm sure they're going to start tumbling down here in the dying stages of qualifying for the finale, for the final time. There's no more qualifying after this, gentlemen, until the next season.
No, and of course the next season not far away. You won't have to wait much more than about 3 or 4 weeks. I can't do the math here tonight, I'm sorry, Biggles, but Season 2 of the V8 Championship is on its way. And Domains2U stepping up as the primary sponsor for that again for next season, which is amazing. So a huge thank you to domains2u.com.au for the continued support of the MC Motorsport series. We will be seeing the Gen 3 supercars make their return to MC Motorsport for the next season. The GT3s will be back, of course, the season beyond that. So we're look into about September or thereabouts. Plenty, though, of action still to come between now and then. A few weeks off between seasons, of course, for the drivers to just relax and recuperate a little before getting behind the wheel of those Gen 3s. But if you do want to get involved, make sure you jump onto the MC Motorsport Discord. The link is in the YouTube description. Come and join up and, throw your hat in the ring. See if you can get yourself onto the podium here in amongst a cracking field of drivers. Daniel Poulton making his way around. Can he improve his time here? So far, not looking like it after the first sector, but just about to complete the second. Some work to do for Danny P, but pretty nicely positioned right now. He's still holding a 1900th lead over Jeremy Washington, so he will be starting front row at this stage with just over 3 minutes left to run in qualifying.
And JW doesn't need necessarily to get, the front row. The other drivers do, because they need more points. Jeremy Washington just need to bring it home, of course, and try to avoid as much carnage as possible that could potentially take him out of the race. And of course, he'd probably be going to Domains for you and saying, I maybe just book in that Jeremy Washington MC Motorsport Champ.com.au.
Yeah, why not, right? He's looking at back-to-back here. He's had the number one on his car all season. And it could just be a second season at this stage. I don't want to talk up too much. There's still a long way to go, but he can really take it reasonably easy tonight. Play it safe, and he should be looking pretty good. However, that's not like the JW we know. He'll still be pushing hard here tonight, I'm sure, as he comes around again, looking to improve his time. Doesn't look like he's going to get there this time around. And Josh Benno just finishing behind him, gets a jump over that final chicane curve. An improvement in the first sector, that is enough to bump him just a little bit higher up the tree into fourth, although I don't think he's actually moved far there at all. Still another half second off Reese Wakefield, so look, Wakefield, he's hard to beat, isn't he? He's got some cracking one-lap pace and backs it up over and over again in race sessions with his results as well. It's going to be very interesting to see if anyone can take it to him here again tonight.
That will be the situation. Shout out in the chat there as well too. Give your support for your drivers, and also give us a prediction of how you think that championship battle is going to sort itself out and resolve itself at the end of the day. At least give us a top 3 for your prediction.
That's all we're asking for.
Fantastic. Yeah,
that's not so bad. Hey, let's go for a bit of a ride on board. If you haven't seen Magny-Cours before, let's jump on board with Dean Jacobson, and this will give you a bit of a look as to how this track runs. So up the main straight of Magny-Cours, straddling the ripple strips on the right-hand side to give you the best possible entry here into the fast turn 1. And then a short little chicane, you'd almost call it, for turn 2. Big slide there. Dean's not going to be the person we end up following here, I don't think, as he'll back out of this lap. So let's jump back on board with, say, Danny P. He's a little further up the track now. And you can see this track is a very wide open track. There's a lot of room for passing, and so the slipstream is absolutely going to come into play here, but some very, very heavy braking, particularly here, the major hairpin on the circuit. If you get the braking right there, there's absolutely an opportunity to throw it up the inside and make a pass there, and then another long straight in the opposite direction. A couple of right-left switchbacks here. Still at pace, so Danny P is absolutely flying through here. Takes a wide line with a late apex, and then again the short right-hander, and open the throttle again. It is a flowing track, but certainly plenty of opportunities to improve your times if you can cut just the right lines. This one in particular, very, very easy to just overshoot that corner and be thrown off the track. We've seen it happen a couple of times at Magny-Cours before during our coverage, Biggles. Certainly something that can happen. Just like that, though, qualifying comes to an end. We were hoping to see Danny P actually make it around, but doesn't look like that will be the way it plays out as we wait for the grid. And here's how they'll line up. Qualifying done and dusted. Reese Wakefield taking the number 1 spot. He takes pole tonight with his teammate Danny P on second position. Jeremy Washington right behind them, and Josh Benno filling out row number 2. Then James Salhani and Dean Jacobson ahead of Ryan Palmer and Kyle Ridley in 8th. James Bunker and Patrick Frame round out the top 10, with Aaron Schotter and Dan Mirko just missing out on top 10 honours here tonight. We go a little further back in the field. Aaron Gilbert and Simon Caplet on row 7 ahead of Dean Power and James Lawrence. Then Nick Clydesdale and Nathan Bowman line up ahead of Henry King and Trev Mortimer. Charlie Milliken and Josh Harris will line up alongside each other. Then Mitch Curry and Dylan Thomas, the MC Motorsport Mustang, alongside the Fishy Motorsports Mustang back there in 23rd and 24th. And last on the grid, Martin Lipsky tonight from Tulip Racing. Pete Minette and Nathan Allen, your safety car drivers for this evening. And Biggles, this is it, mate. Race 1. It's a sprint round, and of course we'll be going pretty hard at it across these 16 laps, and then the 32 laps to follow. I think we're going to be very, very wet in round 2 here tonight.
Yeah, we'll see how that weather pans out at the moment. Let's see how everybody can navigate their way to the kinks of turns 1, 2, and then you've got a big circle to loop back all the way to the backstretch into a tight high hairpin, which you expect to see some overtaking opportunity once you get this temperature into the tyres. And whether we'll see that those caution cars, those safety cars come out or not. Well, we have 2 of them ready on standby.
Yeah, he's hoping that we won't need to call on them this evening. But never can tell just what we are going to expect here this evening. As we wait for starters' orders, all cars are gridded. And here we go. Green flag is being waved at the back of the circuit. The driver's getting ready. We are away, just like that, underway. And we are off at Magny-Cours. Lap 1 begins, and immediately the battle starts into turn 1. With any luck, we're getting through this clean here, Biggles, but already you can see in the background, drivers being pushed wide. That's Charlie Milliken sliding in the background. He'll have to recover from that and try and catch up. 16 laps is not a long time to do it. Right now, Reese Wakefield retains position 1, and you can see already a little bit of argy-bargy there. Jeremy Washington, not the best start for him. He's actually dropped back a few places off the line as we make our way towards the hairpin for the first time. Now, who's sending up the inside? We've got the Mercedes of, is that Aaron Schotter, Australia-wide Racing? So he's stepping out in a new livery tonight, which is certainly going to confuse us, Biggles, I'm sure. Lucas Sott, welcome to the chat, my friend. Good to see you here, mate. I hope you enjoyed the racing this evening. James Salhani maintaining 3rd position, so a good start for him, up a couple of spots immediately. Ryan Palmer also up into 5th. So a great start for the ADHD Mustang there. Our championship leader, Jeremy Washington, what do you reckon? Because is he just taking it a little bit easy right from the get-go?
He is taking it easy, but unfortunately, he had Kyle Ridley and slamming in the back of him, and he's got Ryan Palmer up the road there. So by taking it easy, sometimes you've got to be very cautious because you're throwing yourself into a hornet's nest of cars. And Jeremy Washington clearly has a little bit more pace than what he has at this field, but he was very gingerly on the start there. Didn't want to get any early incidents, of course, to just basically get that extra hand on the championship trophy, which is what he's doing at the moment. But once again, he's got very good cars around him, and Kyle Ridley as well is a driver that would love to get past him. He doesn't worry about Jeremy Washington trying to play it safe. He wants to do it, as you see, a battle between the JJs, Joshua and James.
Yeah, coming through technically turn 3. I still don't think turn 2 is a real turn here. We've had a couple of incidents already in the background, just waiting to see
off Mitch Curry.
If we do get a safety car here, that'll be the thing to keep an eye on. We'll have to go back and take a look at that.
Mitch Curry's in the queue there, and somebody else is going straight up. There might have been Dan Micro into the fence as well too. So we've got 2 drivers in the queue letter, but you keep an eye on the live pitches at the moment until whether or not they're going to call it. Those cars are stuck out there as well, my friend, into turns 2 and I think 1 and 2 actually. So I'm just keeping an eye on that one, where you keep an eye on the battle between Kyle just on the tailpipe there.
And there it is, safety car called.
Yeah, they're beached out there, my friend. They can't get to him. they can't move those cars, our first caution of the race, perhaps could be the last caution of the season.
Yeah, could well be. Let's go back and take a look at some of the action here from the first couple of laps, because it was a crazy first couple of laps here at Magny-Cours. The first victim, Simon Caplet, the iRacing Designs replay will show us here. Just getting a bit of a nudge, perhaps, from the Southern Cross Racing entry. It's Nick Clydesdale in the Corvette, gets spun around, and luckily ends up flying. Trev Mortimer. No, Trev Mortimer.
Yeah.
Not what we want
he
to see
might
for
have
him.
looked up to avoid that situation, but at the same time, and I'd have to say there was a good gaggle of cars that managed to navigate their way through there as well. So good awareness from these drivers. Not easy to do on cold tyres, usually on the first lap of the race as well. But there's, you can see the beach car. There was a couple of them there, and it was Mitch Curry. There was also Nathan Borman that was involved. Let's check out.
We'll go and have
what
a look.
happened.
Mitch Curry. The iRacing Designs replay. This is absolute carnage.
It's out of the funnel
everywhere.
Yeah.
So we'll have to go back and see where that started. I think it might have actually started.
And then there's an extra after that as well.
I think it might have actually started with Aaron Schotter. Let's go back and slow it down here. The iRacing Designs replay. So Aaron Schotter gets
it's difficult, isn't
nudge,
it? You get a good run out of the corner, you've got to get the loud pedal
straight into the back of the BE car there. Mitch Curry copping some damage as well off to the side. So plenty going on, but in amongst all of that, Nathan Bowman, Aaron Schotter, and Mitch Curry all coming off. Probably the worst out of all of it, you'd say. There's the three of them
and
there.
Then later on, they go into the kitty litter as well. So, I mean, this is exactly where the place that Jeremy Washington does not want to be. Neither does Reese, neither does Danny P. They're the situations where they need to be up the front to avoid anything that can happen to the back. Look at this, it's a high-speed runoff here. That's just straight on.
That steering's
I don't know
broken.
why.
That steering's absolutely destroyed.
And then there's also somebody else that comes in the kitty litter just around and here where he is as well too.
That might be Mitch Curry. We'll go back and we'll check on that, because I suspect Mitch Curry's had some issues as well. And same thing. And then just steering damage, just too much. That car is toast. Have a look at the damage on that front end for Mitch Curry.
Yeah, they're both stuck out there too. That's the reason why the caution comes out there, so that, if you don't want any drivers coming around that corner and running straight into them and causing serious injury. But they got those cars towed back, and that'll be it, unfortunately, for the drivers. But that's the beauty of having two races, my friend. You get to jump back in the car, get it all patched up there, and get out there for the future race.
Absolutely. And there'll be a fair bit of repair work to be done, I'd say, for Bowman's Porsche and Curry's Mustang. Thankfully, fast repair on the cards for them, so they'll be back out there pretty quickly. The question will be, do they use that or do they save it for the 32 lapper later? You'd have to save it, wouldn't you?
I'd save it, yeah.
You're
the
not
32
coming back
lap
in a
is
16
probably...
lap.
No. You'd end up finishing on the same position anyway, wouldn't you? So, I mean, you would be able to DNF, but at the same time, what are you going to do? It's just not enough time, because you got to remember, we're lap 3 of 16 by the time, if we do have the caution car come in, which I don't think it's coming in this lap, is it? Or maybe it will be.
Waiting for an update here from Race Control, but certainly at least one more lap at this stage.
Yeah, to be one more. So you've only got, at that point, don't you, really 12 laps?
Yeah, there's not a lot of time at all.
And you'll be like 2 laps down, so it'll be fighting. Although they're coming out, and there's one positive thing of doing it, even if you did get the damage repaired. I wouldn't use the fast repair, but I get the damage repair. It's just it's extra practice laps. You're planning on being in the race anyway. Even if you're out by yourself, that's a good little dress rehearsal for the main show coming up.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And I suspect they've taken the fast repair, just looking at the pit time. Curry and Bowman just waiting at the pit exit now to be released by Race Control as the pit exit reopens after the safety car train makes its way past. Let's keep an eye, though, on the weather here, Biggles.
Yes, now, I am, my friend. I got the radar
that
up.
humidity coming up, the clouds certainly starting to cast some very dark shadows over Magny-Cours. Just a little bit of breeze to bring them in. It's
and you know what the caution does too?
Evening.
It actually prolongs, doesn't it, the time? Because you're not doing your 143 lap times anymore under a caution. So that means that the weather that's lurking in the background is going to start slowly coming in more because of the fact that we're prolonging the race, my friend, which is pretty good.
Yeah, just inviting it closer. As we see Nathan Bowman and Mitch Curry getting the wave by the safety car, they will be full noise trying to catch up back to the end of this pack, and they'll be onto the lead lap again, but a long way behind the rest of this field. Now, lap 4 already, really, what, 2.5 laps under safety car at this stage. These tyres, they'll be cooling down significantly, particularly with
they'll be like
the weather.
ice skates, won't they? That's why you see Reece Wakefield at the moment trying to warm up the tyres, because he's the one that's got to be gassing it first. He's the one that's also going to be braking first, and everybody else has got him as the guidance to see how it's going to feel. So he's in the hot seat, no doubt. And of course, not just that, he's got the championship pressure on top of that. But Jeremy Washington, cautiously, old JW back in P6, he's just got to make sure that everybody around him, you know, doesn't do anything too crazy there, so he can see the checkered flag at the end of this one and essentially wrap up the championship at the same time. But as a driver, you got to take race by race. Just get through this one. Get yourself a nice, for JW, a top 10 finish. That should be enough to secure the deal. But
it should be.
Gotta take it one by one.
But we're going to have to keep a close eye on these points tonight, Biggles, because I suspect it's going to end up potentially a lot closer than perhaps we thought. We'll see how the points all come together.
We need a Ted Pitlane report down there to start crunching some of those numbers, don't we? Yeah, but it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Confirmation from race control, safety car coming in this lap. So Reece Wakefield has control of the field as we make our way down the back straight. He's going to slow them right down, just waiting for the safety car to make its way into the pits as Nathan Allen brings the Mercedes back in. Now this will be a very interesting restart purely because of the run that you get here into this chicane. Wakefield can hold them all the way up.
Here we go.
And there we go, we are away. Green flag racing again. Wakefield opens the throttle on that Acura and leads the line down into turn 1. Now, do we make it around cleanly here? Ryan Palmer already looking for an opportunity, and he holds off Jeremy Washington through the first set of corners. We see in the background a very, very wide line there for Dean Powell, I think it might have been. But we get underway once again, and the field already starting to just spread on in.
Dean's going to be, if he gets, well, he's got past Patrick just at the moment there, but you might have the Dean and Dean shows. That's not going to be a law firm.
Well, that's a big dive from
Dean
Powell.
He's going to set it up the inside, Dean.
Takes 2 positions, but very slow. Patrick Frame's going to try and steal that one back again. Powell had to really get off it there. James Bunker in the Vegemite McLaren gets it underway, so Powell manages to retain the pass on Patrick Frame for the moment. That was a bold send into the hairpin, but exactly what we said earlier, because it's a very, very good opportunity for these cars to take a dive under brakes if you can get the power down out the other side.
Meanwhile, if you can get the power down the other side, exactly, go ahead.
James Lawrence now under pressure, pressuring rather Nick Clydesdale in the Corvette. The Southern Cross Racing entry has the Australia-wide Racing McLaren right on his tail as they make their way around. Out in front though, James Salhani still in third, doing a spectacular job tonight and looking to pick up a few more points for himself there. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Reece Wakefield, though, continues to lead this as we get towards the start of lap 6 of 16. Wakefield crosses the line and sets off the new race lap count. Have a look at just how tight these two are here tonight, though. There we go. There's the move from Lawrence. Now, can he get it done into turn 1? He's got the pace. It's a fast corner. Gets through. An opportunity here for Clydesdale to maybe just flip it back on him. But at this stage, just too fast. Lawrence pulls away.
Absolutely. He had the acceleration and momentum going in the corner. He did it. And speaking of the 2 places that James is up there for the McLaren, currently running in P3, we'll have to check out whether or not those brake ducts there have the right relevant. not water, of course, but the displacement they keep the tires a little bit cooler at the moment. Oh, Dylan Thomas maybe dropped a place at the moment. There's a little bit of kerfuffling going on back in P16, 17th. At the moment, as you can currently see, in 21st as well, too, on your pictures. But so far, Reece, fastest lap at the moment, with a half 10th gap currently over Denny P.
Not a lot in it, and of course, it is a very, very hard track to put much of a distance on. Trev Mortimer finds himself under a bit of pressure as well, out very, very wide. He's going to have to slow it right down. A big moment. The 2 Mercedes almost coming together there. Aaron Schotter having an awful time. Meanwhile, Nick Clydesdale now under pressure from Harris. So the Corvette just hasn't got the pace here this evening. Harris goes very wide, looking for a way to get past, and right behind him, Henry King, the Team Chinks Shifters Lamborghini, still looking resplendent in those very, very bright colours. He makes his way past Harris, and that's been just enough for Nick Clydesdale to get a little bit of breathing room, but only for a moment. As you can see, the battle continues.
And the Joshua and James show currently in a moment for P3. Is he starting to reel him in? Ryan Palmer's just staring off a little bit the distance there with JW in the background, but Joshua's eager at the moment here to look for himself for a podium. James made a little bit of an error before there, and James made an error. That's right, Joshua and James made an error there from James.
Does happen. They
at
are
the moment,
human.
he's holding on. Well, I thought we were watching bots racing.
It seems that way sometimes, honestly. The consistency of some of these drivers here with the MC Motorsport roster is just something else. You know, we've seen it time and time again, particularly the big names, Wakefield, Poulton, Jeremy Washington. They're just capable of putting down lap times within a tenth of each other over and over and over again. And you end up just, you've got to sit back and just admire the consistency and the effort that it takes to do that. Big moment in the background, Dean Jacobson.
Yep.
Gets a bit of a tap there from, was that Aaron Gilbert as well?
James Bunker.
James Bunker getting in amongst it. We'll take a look and see if we can see what's happened. It looks like it's just come together through the corner. Jacobson, all sorts of trouble under brakes, into the wall.
Yeah.
So damage to that Porsche, it's significant as he tries desperately to pull it up. It is crabbing. Have a look at the angle on that car. That is almost NASCAR worthy.
Yeah, I'm impressed that he kept it up to the left-hand side too, and kind of did his best to keep it out of the way of the other drivers that were scooting through pretty quickly. So hats off to him. It's very difficult to drive a wounded beast like that, but Dean kept it to the side there and said, look, okay, I'm going to try and bring it home in a moment, but yeah, I don't want to destroy anybody else's race.
Have a look at that incident. So James Bunker just straight into the back of Jacobson, just can't get it stopped under brakes, and then a second collision. And unfortunately for Jacobson, not his fault at all, but he's absolutely copped the worst of the damage while Bunker manages to continue on.
And Ryan Palmer putting pressure on Joshua for the big battle for P4 on your pitches. Remember too, any mistakes at their mate there, JW is just behind him. And Jeremy Washington, I would say, earlier in the season, would have just probably taken a 2-for-1 special, but knowing at the moment with a championship on the line, he won't be risking it for the biscuit as much. And
he's playing it safe tonight. It's the right
he's
call.
It's an unusual JW because he would have gone for gold at that point earlier, but once again, why would you risk it? You've got this one, and there's a possibility of those two coming together.
Just has to keep that nose clean for another, 8 laps or so. Meanwhile, Reece Wakefield out in front as Danny P sticking with him, the two teammates. You can see reasonably close together on track. They'll be chatting away, just deciding what the best solution here is. But I would expect that it'll be race on for both of them. They've got a significant lead here. James Salhani almost 3 seconds behind in third. So the two Acuras just absolutely going for it. Further back though, have a look at this little pack we've got going on. Simon Caplett mixing up with Trev Mortimer. They're side by side. Aaron Schotter taking a look up the inside as well. Can he get past Josh Harris? Can't quite get there before the turn. And then they've got to get back into single file for that final chicane as they whip back onto the main straight. Because we've got some interesting audio coming through from you, my friend. Might have to get you to just check out your equipment there and get back to us as soon as you can. But we'll keep an eye on all the action. Nick Clydesdale just ahead of Aaron Gilbert as they make their way down the straight again, and Clydesdale sets himself up on the inside defensively. Gilbert though around the outside, so they have the traction. Goes very, very wide to get the power down. They're side by side in the run. Clydesdale's going to have a slightly better run towards the corner here, but he's going to have to work to hold off Aaron Gilbert.
Way around here in El Ferrance. So far we're getting close to halfway through this race. In fact, we just approached halfway through this race. And that is the situation with, well, Jeremy Washington's really on the back there of Ryan Palmer at the moment. He may feel that Ryan Palmer's just holding him up a little bit at the moment, but how far does he want to risk getting the overtake? He's down 3 from his ultimate position in this race, but at this point he's got to be looking at that gap to the leader up the road there, about 7 or so seconds, and just say, well, that's just a little bit out of my reach for now.
Yeah, look, he does need to, but he won't want to hang around too long as we get the drone shot from overhead. This will give you a really good view of Jeremy Washington's situation right now. He's got the pace. He's quite happy, though, tucked in behind Palmer. He's just been watching and waiting for an opportunity to make his way through. You can see Palmer having to make a lot of corrections to keep the Mustang in hand, whereas Washington's just almost floating through the corners. It's that typical just calm poise that we've seen from Washington all season long. He knows what he has to do here tonight. He's not interested in pushing too hard. Palmer, a late duck over to the outside. Washington's just going to slot in behind, not wanting to push the issue. No need for contact there as they make their way through the hairpin once more. And in the background, Kyle Ridley, he's been a bit quiet tonight, hasn't he, Biggles?
He has, actually. He's up still 1 position from where he started this race from the 270 McLaren, but at this battling that's going up the road there, he might be he won't be definitely on the back there of JW in a little bit there for the JW Racing entry. Dean Powell has gone off the track somewhere for the Blackhawk Motorsports entrance, and he's dropped back down to P11.
Not having the best night tonight is Dean Powell. Trev Mortimer, another one. We really hoped that tonight might be a better night for him, but it doesn't seem to be so far. Ryan Palmer further up, though, still under pressure from Washington as he tacks right onto the back of that Mustang, gets up under that wing to take full advantage of whatever slipstream is there. First of the penalties announced, a 10-second time penalty for car number 111. That's Nick Clydesdale for his earlier contact with Simon Caplet. So it's not going to play any great part in tonight's proceedings, I'm sure. That's huge, a 20-second time penalty just being handed to Aaron Schotter for that contact that he made with Dan Mirko on lap 1. That's going to take Schotter right to the back of the field at this point.
That's a shot, isn't it, for Aaron?
It absolutely is. Let's go back and take a look at Dean Powell's incident as we see another 10-second time penalty coming through here. Just overcooking the rears in the end. So a 10-second time penalty for James Lawrence. So he'll
just can't get past here at the moment. He is struggling.
He's got the pace to hold on back.
Yeah, this is a very early indication at the moment there. If the situation was to pan out in a similar circumstance for the future race and JW can't get an overtake done, and let's say, for example, it's going to be side by side.
Well, this is going to be enough. It's not. He backs out. He does not want to end up side by side and risk getting taken out here. That's key for Washington tonight. And so you're not going to see him pushing as hard as we'd usually expect from the man himself. He's still certainly on pace, but he's not throwing the car in and forcing the move to happen. He's quite happy to just put the pressure on, look for the mistake from Palmer, but he's not going to put the car at risk.
More importantly as well, though, it's not getting a chance to show his true pace at the moment that JW would probably like in this race. So
no, it's not. And you look at his best lap so far, a 138.5. Out in front, Wakefield's best, a 137.9 and a 137.7 for Danny P. Those guys are running much, much quicker tonight. But all that Washington has to do here is hold his place in 6th. He'll start just ahead of the mid-pack in the reverse top 10 for race number 2. And he can just try and cruise it home, really.
Give you an indication of how difficult it is to overtake. It's going to be the key as well too, especially for those drivers that are up the top 6 or 7. Not a lot of overtakes that happen so far between those drivers. Just a couple of little mistakes that crept in. So, but further back you got James and James battle.
It's all going on right throughout the pack here. We're watching the battle for 14th right now. Dylan Thomas has got out in front of Nick Clydesdale. He's got Aaron Schotter and Josh Harris right with him. And then immediately behind them, Dan Mirko and Simon Caplet side by side. Behind them, Charlie Millican and Trevor Mortimer swapping places through the hairpin. Someone's front bar just bouncing off to the left there. Bright pink, I don't know whose that would have been. I'm guessing it might have been Aaron Schotter's. We'll have to check in on that in just a moment. Further up the field, James Salhani, he's put up a huge battle here to hold on to 3rd. Josh Benno has been all over him, but just has not managed to find a way through. And maybe this tells us a little bit more than we thought about the conditions here tonight at Magny-Cours. This is a really tough track and very well defended there from Salhani. It's a really tough track to get a pass done on if you've got a driver who knows how to defend and is not afraid to put their car in the way of the racing line.
Crucial.
Absolutely.
Charlie had a little bit of a moment. He's gone off track. He's currently running down in... Where's Charles gone?
Looks like he's actually towed.
Oh, he's towed. There we go. Exit out of the final corner there. James on James. That's the battle for P9 currently. At the moment,
two Mustangs almost coming together on the way into turn one. We get it settled. Dean Power following through behind, just leading a couple more cars. So Bunker at the moment in a really good spot. If he can just hang in there, he'll be starting from the front row, as will James Lawrence. It's not confusing at all having the two Jameses right next to each other, and both in McLarens no less. But of course, the reverse top 10 means that these guys at this stage will both be on the front row if they can get this done without taking each other out. Lawrence goes, Lawrence has spun. Lawrence has just overcooked it, gives up that position. He's going to have to sit and wait.
Towed.
And immediately toes.
Oh, no. Yeah, towed. Yep. Wow.
So he's jumped to pits.
He might have had a gap there, but anyway.
That's interesting. And of course, I don't imagine that he's actually managed to get a permission to tow from race control that quickly. So I suspect that might be his night done. But
that's frustration been creeping in on that one, isn't it?
It can be. Absolutely can be. This group here, battling it out.
Thomas has also got off the track there. Believe it or not, Mitch Curry's down up on pin 19 now after coming back in through the field there. But Dylan's had a little bit of spin too himself.
Go back and take a look at that on the iRacing Designs replay. It's getting out into the same position that we saw earlier from... was it Dean Powell? Did exactly the same thing. Mustang's just overcooking it in that corner.
Tell you what, there's a battle for the lead starting to heat up as well too, because Danny P's starting to reel in Reese Wakefield. This is crucial for these two drivers in the championship hunt as well too. So knowing that JW, Jeremy Washington, leading the championship's down to P6 at the moment, so the big battle for P2 in the championship is heating up here. Magny-Cours.
Yeah, Danny P's going to have to really get a move on. He's going to need a lot more points than he'll get from finishing one position ahead of Reese Wakefield if he wants to challenge for second place. At the moment, I think Antic Motorsport's probably pretty happy to take second and third in the championship when all is said and done. So I wouldn't expect them to push so hard that they're putting either of these cars at risk. Danny P, of course, will be looking for an opportunity to get through, but it will all be off a Reese Wakefield mistake rather than Daniel Poulton forcing the issue. Because both of these Acuras want to make it home. The team, Antic Motorsports, have been so strong this season, and it's exactly where they'll want to finish as well. Patrick Frame back in 8th as well, so a little bit further back through the field, but another of the Acuras from Antic. He is absolutely in contention. This battle here, though, for third backlands, Salhani, Benno, Palmer, Washington, Ridley just off the back. It is absolutely a five-way battle, although Salhani's defensive efforts so far have been absolutely phenomenal. For him to hold off Josh Benno for so long, we're down to the last 2 laps here, so Wakefield and Danny P will be getting the white flag next time around. It's almost crunch time here for Jeremy Washington. That's what we've got to keep an eye on. Is he going to go for that extra spot, or is he actually just going to hang in there and just enjoy 6th position and the reverse top 10 grid? I can't see a reason for him to push any harder, really.
Well, he won't be enjoying finishing 10 seconds down the road there from Reese and Danny P.
No.
He's going to be maybe thinking about that feature race, because if he secures enough points in this one, in this race as it is, when you crunch those numbers, it might just be enough that he can afford to flex his arms out there and go, all right, if I have the championship at this point, then I can just go for gold there and try to win the next race. So just go win it, the feature race, and then ultimately he'll win the championship at the same time.
Keep an eye on Dan Mirko. He's threatening to dive up the inside. Josh Harris goes defensive into the hairpin. Mirko on the outside. He'll look for an over-under here. Doesn't quite get it done. Doesn't swing it back hard enough to get back on the power. So Harris retains it. Another great defensive effort. We'll jump back up to Salhani, though, because he is doing everything he can to hold off Josh Benno at this point in time. Reese Wakefield, there's the white flag. So white flag is out. here come the two Acuras. So Wakefield and Danny P take the white flag as they cross the line. And look at the gap back to the rest of the field.
We've got about 7 seconds. There you go.
That is absolutely massive. The gap that these guys have run up here tonight. Antic Motorsport's absolutely running away with it out in front. Salhani, though, a stellar effort. I tell you what, he'd be kicking himself that he didn't manage to put together some results like this through more of the early part of the season, because he could have been in there with a shot. We've seen him feature at the top end of the field over the last probably 3, 4, 5 weeks. Bit of a flash of the light there from Josh Benno, and just trying to convince Salhani to slow down and let him past. Seems a bit unlikely at this point, honestly. Jeremy Washington, just super consistent as always. He's been sitting there in 6th since he started this race, and that looks like where he will finish. Wakefield and Danny P, though, out in front, almost an 8-second gap to this battle for 3rd. They are absolutely existing on another planet here tonight, and I think what that says to me is that Salhani doesn't have the outright pace, and that getting a pass done here is incredibly difficult. That's going to be interesting to watch in race number 2, because Wakefield and Daniel Poulton will start from P9 and 10, and so they're going to have to fight their way through the field. That's going to be a big ask for them.
Well, Joe, that's why they get paid the big bucks, my friend.
Oh, is that it?
To drive one of the best series in the world. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's $20 million each contract on offer here, so, you've got to commit the absolute best.
Absolutely. They come across the line. There's the checking flag. Reece Wakefield takes the win. Danny P, a huge slide across the finish. Don't know how intentional that one was, but hey, it looked all right in the end. James Salhani, a fantastic effort there to bring home 3rd place, just ahead of Josh Bennett. Then Ryan Palmer, Jeremy Washington, and Kyle Ridley. Patrick Frame from Antic Motorsports comes across the line in 8th. James Bunker manages to hold on to 9th, so he'll be starting on the front row. And Dean Powell, for all that happened earlier, sneaks home in 10th. He'll be starting from pole for race number 2. A great result for him.
You never deny the power of a Dean, mate. 5 positions up too from the 93 Ford.
Absolutely. As we wait for the rest of the field to make their way across the line, we'll get the result in just a moment. But right now, let's have a chat to race 1's winner, Reece Wakefield. Welcome back to the booth, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Mate, it was an interesting one tonight. We were expecting, I don't know, maybe just something a little bit closer up the front, but Antic Motorsport's running away with the 1-2 here tonight. What's the go?
I actually don't know, to be honest. We only started practicing this, I think, maybe did some laps yesterday, a couple on Saturday. After Monday's race at Daytona, I kind of took a little bit of a break, but then came back, and yeah, we're just doing practice laps for the last 2 days. And I mean, I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, it worked.
Absolutely did. And look, we've just had obviously the times all update as the first session ended, but your fastest time for both yourself and Danny P, you were a good almost second faster every single lap, sometimes even more. Is it just the Acura being far too dominant this season? Is that what we're seeing here?
I mean, it comes down to a multitude of things. Like, I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's a whole bunch of seat time. It's how much time you want to put into the car, is how much you get out of it. So obviously me and Danny drive this car a lot, so we understand it. But the rear end traction out of the slower corners really does help. Like, the Porsche should feel the same out of the hairpins and the slower corners. It's just the drive that we're able to get out of the corners is phenomenal, and it handles as well. We're not trying to over push the car into corners. We're not trying to go too fast. We're just basically just trying to drive it instead of it driving us.
Well, mate, doing everything right here. Race 2 just around the corner. Both of yours and Danny P's car going to have a bit of a fight to get through here tonight from 9th and 10th on the grid for the longer race. Let me ask one more question before you let you go. Have you done your wet practice, mate? Because we've got some rain on the way.
It does look that way. Luckily, we were in the practice session yesterday, and it was wet. So we have practice. Whether or not it's good enough is a different story.
Well, mate, can't wait to see it. Congratulations, an awesome win there in race 1. Can't wait to see what race 2 brings us. We'll let you get back to it, hey?
Thanks, guys.
Reese Wakefield there, your winner for race number 1, as we take a look at the results. And this is how it looks. So race 1, Reese Wakefield gets the 100 points. Now interestingly, Danny P, what has happened here? Because if there's been a penalty applied there that we've missed, that's a 48-second gap. Whoa, what's happened to Danny P? It looks like he might have had maybe a black flag or something that's been applied there. So that's a massive disappointment for him. He crossed the line in second, but it looks as though iRacing has chucked him all the way down. So we'll have to try and get a bit of an update on that one. James Salhani, though, picks up a second place as a result. Josh Benno gets a third. So Benno, with that from Danny P, that's a significant chunk of points. Benno could be challenging here for a third spot on the podium come championship end time. That could change everything.
Yeah, exactly. Kyle Ridley as well too, the P6 position. Remember, he's still fourth in the championship going into this race earlier. So that's another situation. It'll help, obviously, Jeremy Washington a little bit there as well too. But Jeremy Washington, of course, is battling mainly Reese Wakefield. Reese Wakefield, what, he takes how many points out of JW? 12 or so. But he went into this race with a 43-point gap. So that's still not going to be enough, of course, for Reese.
No, it's not. Let's actually take a quick look at how the points stand right now, because that is a very, very unusual state of affairs. Now, as it stands, Kyle Ridley has actually jumped ahead of Danny P after race 1. Finds himself 10 points up. He might be on for a podium here. Here we go. We're getting info in the chat. So there was a slow. Oh, that's what's happened to Danny P. A slowdown in the last chicane, and that big slide where he was trying to pull it up in time. He's crossed the line with that slowdown, and so he's copped a massive penalty as a result. Massive thank you to Ryan Palmer for jumping in to let us know that. That is brutal for Daniel Poulton, and that's look, he's up against it here. Kyle Ridley into third. Josh Benno as well will be better placed in race 2 from the start. Danny P's going to be starting all the way back in 17th or thereabouts. This is going to be really tough for him.
Yeah, thanks for giving us that feedback as well too. So that final chicane is very nasty then if you get it all wrong, because you get that slowdown, especially on the last lap there, and bang, all of a sudden you've just gone from the penthouse to the outhouse very quickly.
So this changes the makeup of the championship standings pretty drastically. Obviously, there's still a bit to go for here. Yeah, all right, fair call. We'll give it to you there, Ryan. A P4 for ADHD. I will absolutely give you your due recognition, mate. A very, very good race, and a lot of work done there to hold off Jeremy Washington right throughout that race as well. Look, best of luck in race number 2, mate. Get back in that seat and get your head in the game, hey? We are just about ready to go to the grid for race number 2. 32 laps ahead of us, Biggles. This championship is looking almost sewn up for Jeremy Washington, but the podium for the championship certainly not decided at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, he's got basically himself a nice top 15 finish. I think he probably top 20 finish, and he's got it done and dusted.
Absolutely.
But you've still got to finish the race in order to do that. And if you got a stack grid of 25 other drivers around you, there's all sorts of problems that could occur. So you got to play it safe. There's your grid.
Aaron Gilbert and Dean Power jump to the front of the grid with the reverse top 10. James Bunker and Patrick Frame on the second row. Kyle Ridley and Jeremy Washington, prime position right now. Row 3, they'll be very happy with where they're starting this race. Ryan Palmer in 7th alongside Josh Benno. Then James Salhani and Reese Wakefield starts in 10th. Henry King and Dan Mirko behind them on row number 6. As we go further back, let's go a little further back than that even. Josh Harris and Trev Mortimer on row number 7 ahead of Simon Kaplan and Dylan Thomas. Daniel Poulton 17th place with Mitch Curry from MC Motorsport in 18th. Keep your eye on Danny P. He's going to be fuming, and he'll be pushing so hard here through the pack, I'm sure. So we're going to have to keep a very close eye on him here for race number 2. Dean Jacobson and Aaron Schotter round out the 20 with Nathan Bowman and Martin Lipsky behind them. Charlie Milliken and James Lawrence in 23rd and 24th, and Nick Clydesdale relegated to the back of the field. Nathan Allen and Pete Manette once again in the safety car for this evening.
Who gets to pick which safety car goes out?
Oh, look, I actually don't know. I know Nathan Allen might be listening in. Nathan, if you are watching the broadcast, let us know how you and Pete decide on who gets to actually do the laps.
Yeah. Do they do the fastest laps shootouts to see who gets to go out first and second, and then back to
you got to wonder, don't you?
Again.
I'd be battling for it, honestly. The opportunity to get out in the safety car, why not? Maybe that's just me.
Get the safety car doing quicker laps than what our race leaders are. It'll be interesting. And be like, come on, catch up.
You know the interesting thing? So the Mustang GT3 is actually used as the safety car in the Alliance Sim Racing series that Simple also covers. And that GT3, because of the aero, will actually lap a track a good 2 or 3 seconds quicker than a Gen 3 supercar just because of that grip. Oh. Not the case here, obviously. You've got a GT3 leading it, but it's amazing the difference that a bit of downforce can make.
And let's see what the difference this championship can make here at the moment for the finale round here. 32 laps that these drivers will have to navigate around here in France for the final time at the moment. Key figures to look at: Jeremy Washington in P6, Reese Wakefield in P10, and unfortunately for Danny P, he's got a fight on his hands at P17. But we do know as well, on top of that, my friend, look out for Kyle Ridley.
Absolutely. It all comes down to this: 32 laps between Jeremy Washington and the championship crown as we get underway for race number 2. Kyle Ridley at an absolutely fantastic start, jumps out and takes a couple of early positions. Here we go into turn 1. What sort of havoc have we got? That's Ryan Palmer off to the side there through the kitty litter, slows him down a little, and Jeremy Washington looking to swap places with him through turn 3, but somehow Palmer's managed to retain the inside. The front of this pack already starting to get out in single file. A big slide there for one of the Race on Oz cars in the background. To make our way down to the hairpin for the first time, Dean Powell takes a central line. Kyle Ridley takes a big look up the inside, has to back it right off. Aaron Gilbert's going to find himself out wide. Can Ridley make the most of it? He has gotten the drive. They're side by side as they make their way down. Dean Powell starting to establish himself out in front. Jeremy Washington already beginning to move through. Ridley,
a P2 for Kyle Ridley. Wow, making the move at the moment, big time there. You're going to see James Bunker go side by side and try to fight back there with Aaron Gilbert, Ryan Palmer. Jeremy Washington's dropped back behind Patrick now. He was probably absolutely annoyed to see the tailpipe of the number 16 Ford there, because remember, he's been behind him essentially for a good part of the first heat race, and now he's back behind him again.
What a start for Kyle Ridley. He'll be absolutely cheering. This is vital for him, because he will be wanting to get as far ahead as possible from Josh Benno to have a crack at P3 here. It's going to be a big ask, but it's not impossible. So we'll see how this all looks when it wraps up in 31.5 laps time. Reese Wakefield, he's already looking to move up through the field, but he finds himself stuck behind James Salhani. Can Salhani put on the same defensive clinic that he did first time around? Now, Dean Powell into the pits immediately.
He's not the only one.
No.
And Joshua have early pit stops.
Okay, so we're seeing that starting to play in here. We've seen it happen a few times before. A big reminder, of course, to anyone who's new to this series, what a time to join us. End of the championship. You're going to see the championship winner crowned here tonight. We, of course, have these cars starting with a lower than full tank, but they are able to fill to full capacity. So these drivers making the gamble here on lap 1. As we see Ryan Palmer take a big look up the inside of Aaron Gilbert. Can he get it done? Just coming out ahead, but they're side by side. As is Kyle Ridley and Dean Powell. Ridley now challenging for first. Palmer and Gilbert swapping side to side. Washington in behind as well. Look out there as Jeremy Washington makes the move through. Aaron Gilbert's had to back right out, and Washington gets through as well. So Aaron Gilbert just finding himself well off the racing line and having to really take the foot off the throttle. He's now under pressure from none other than Reese Wakefield, who has somehow... No, Patrick Frame, sorry. That's Patrick Frame. Reese Wakefield's still stuck behind James Salhani at the moment.
Yeah, he's probably playing a little bit more safe at the midfield there. Kyle, mate, the lead's up the inside. There's going to squeeze.
James Bunker almost takes it as well.
Yeah, James might have that P2 at the moment for the Vegemite machine there. He's had his Vegemite sandwich for breakfast.
Absolutely.
He had it for breakfast, lunch, and tea.
Champions. Mate, breakfast of champions has to drop back a little here to avoid contact. He's going to be on the inside of the chicane. They're side by side. No room given by either driver. This is all-out battle here as they enter lap 3. Kyle Ridley, though, starting to extend his lead out in front. This is fantastic news for him. I really hope that Courtney's out there in the chat because she will be cheering for this one right now. Plenty of battles going on throughout the rest of the field, but this is what we're keeping our eye on right now. James Bunker leads a whole group of drivers. You've got Ryan Palmer, Jeremy Washington, Aaron Gilbert, Patrick Frame, James Sahani, Reese Wakefield. Our battle box cannot actually list the full number of drivers that are all right here in this pack. Kyle Ridley enjoyed big contact. Palmer late on the brakes, contact with the back of Dean Powell's Mustang. Mustang holding up to it surprisingly well, actually, but James Bunker takes advantage. He starts to push through. Now Jeremy Washington will be looking for an opportunity as well. Keep it on this.
No, Jeremy's going to get an exit. He has to go for this at the moment, up in the inside there.
And there he goes.
He needs to get out of this gaggle of cars. It's too dangerous for him in this championship.
Absolutely,
it's too dangerous. He has to clear up, and there he is. So he's up in the P3 at the moment. James is a little bit further up the road, but they battle Aaron and Dean side by side behind him.
There's going to be carnage here. It's just a question of when. I'm not sure who's going to blink first, but this is looking really, really dangerous. Patrick Frame. Could it be him? James Salhani, a big dive up the inside. Doesn't quite get there. Reese Wakefield's got no way through because Salhani is going both defensive and aggressively after Patrick Frame. Wakefield, you can see him swapping side to side here in the background, just trying to find a way through. Looks to the outside. Salhani maintains the middle of the track. This is going to be frustrating for Wakefield. Kyle Ridley, meanwhile, 138.8.
Yeah, a couple of pit stops. You would have thought that maybe he might do that
in the background. Dan Merco into the wall. Very light touch in the end. Can he get it going again? Just waiting for opportunity. So hasn't done any massive damage. Managed to pull it up. So he'll get moving again. Very, very lucky there. A couple more pit stops underway, Biggles.
Yeah, that's Ryan Palmer there. And Simon will be going into pit road as well too. It's just all down there, having a little bit of a mistake out of the final chicane that we've seen a couple of times from the drivers. But interesting as well too, Reese Wakefield is staying out at the moment. I don't think he's going to think too much about that traffic causing a problem, essentially you'd have to say, because of the pace that he had out of race 1. He's got James, Patrick, Aaron and Dean up the road. But more importantly, he knows that Jeremy Washington's in that P3 position. He needs Jeremy Washington to be P23 for any hope in this championship.
And that is a huge ask. Nick Clydesdale and James Lawrence in 24th and 25th not starting this race. So 23rd is the worst that Jeremy Washington can do. And I just don't think that's going to be enough of a points difference, even if Wakefield takes a win here. I can't see it. Yeah. It's what it's going to require. You know what? I don't even want to say it because the commentator curse thing. No, we're not even going to talk about what it's going to require. I know what it's going to require. You at home probably know what it's going to require, but we're not going to say it because we don't want to see that happen here tonight.
Norman!
Nathan Bowman goes sideways, gets the Porsche rolling again. Porsche doing Porsche things as always, Biggles.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, listen up, Ford's blowing up.
Exactly right.
That's okay.
Exactly right. Patrick Frame continues in position there, and still, Salhani holding off Wakefield.
Oh, Jeremy Washington's going to put some pressure on the back there too from James, so he wants to clear in, get up the clear air and get up the road there and try to catch Kyle. Because remember as well too, he wants to, I mean, as a racing driver and you're leading the championship, you want to be on that top step of the podium and collect that championship trophy as well too by winning the race. So you're certainly going to be looking at that one. There is an opportunity, of course, I'd have to say, if you were the likes of Reese Wakefield, go down there and get yourself a DeLorean and crank it up to 88 miles per hour and go back in time and collect a little bit more points, then you can do it. But at the moment, he's just got past James, actually. Well, they are not quite past, side by side. This is where the dangerous area is for him, isn't he?
And he gets
can't afford anything to happen.
Patrick Frame holding up his teammate there, not intentionally, but just through the lack of drive that Frame had out of that corner. And Salhani holds on to the position. You saw there Reese Wakefield doing everything he can. A big dive from Wakefield. Gets up the inside of Salhani. Is he going to make contact with Gilbert? He forces his way in, shuts the door on Salhani, and Wakefield finally making it into 6th position ahead of Salhani. Aaron Gilbert, his next target.
Time is ticking as well, so it's 6 seconds down the road there from the race leader at this point there for Reece Wakefield. So he's got to clear air and got to get that pedal to the metal down there. And Courtney's come out. She's listened to you, my friend.
Yeah, good to see that she's around. Lovely to have you back again, Courtney. And of course, Kiki from SLM Gaming, enjoying the view of the SLM Motorsports entry of Kyle Ridley out in front, and a very, very healthy gap of almost 6.5 seconds back to Reece Wakefield right now. They make their way through that last chicane once again. Full noise down the front straight. Dean Pear holding on to 4th position right now. We're going to keep our eye though on Reece Wakefield, because he is the man that needs to make all the moves here tonight if he wants to hang on to P2.
Yeah, nothing less than a race win, I'd have to say, for the 969 machine to have any hopes and dreams.
Have a look at poor Aaron Schotter. The 280 HD Mustangs absolutely hassling him right now. Josh Harris side by side, Ryan Palmer right on the tail. These guys all have made their first pit stop, and probably their only pit stop for this evening, you would think. But the 280 HD Mustangs just travelling as a pack. Aaron Schotter, he'll be feeling a little bit of pressure there, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly, because they're potentially battling for later on higher positions, panning out how the times that they're doing with the rest of the pack, and that's from P17.
Aaron Gilbert wide, Wakefield through into 5th.
There we go, so just managed to clear that.
That corner's been the undoing of the Mustangs all night here tonight, Biggles.
It has. Good catch on that one.
I don't know what it is, but they just can't seem to get the traction they need under braking to hold the right line through there.
Well, American cars, mate, they're usually only turning left.
Yeah, fair call. Fair call. It is a left turn, though. So you'd think they'd be
that's true,
all over that one. James Bunker, meanwhile, Jeremy Washington is still right there with him as they make their way to the final chicane. Kyle Ridley just out in front. 2 McLarens chasing a third. It is McLaren 1, 2, 3 right now as we start lap 7 of 32 here in race
JW is going to make a run here. Yeah, he's wanting to clear Bunker and get himself up to that P2. You can see up the road there's Kyle. What a fantastic drive for Kyle in this race too. 4 positions gain there. Done everything he can to get through and slice and dice. He got to get those overtakes too that were not handed to him by any race collisions up the road. He had to battle, and Kyle Ridley, of course, looking to secure himself that P2, if not even, sorry, a P3, if not that P2 in the championship. And here we go.
There's the move from Washington.
Late send from Washington.
Gets it done. Flots outside and shuts the door, foot down.
He's not playing around as cautiously as he was in Heat 1. He's
got clear air. He wants to open this up. Absolutely. And Jeremy Washington starts to fire away, already opening the gap up to James Bunker, 8/10 and climbing now almost a second immediately. Kyle Ridley, that gap down to 1.6. He's going to have to pick up the pace.
Jeremy played it safe cautiously in that first race to make sure he got himself a nice, inside the top 10 finish, which he did almost in the top 5 actually. And so now he realised, okay, I've got that buffer. I can now really just go for it and go for this race win.
Still a long way to go here tonight though. Reece Wakefield, he'll be looking to make a move on Dean Powell. The only question is where and when.
Well, you could take a book out of JW, isn't it? Hairpin. I'd have to say would be one of your safest places to get the overtake. I wouldn't risk it on this corner's going up there. Because, you get that, you run wide, of course you're going to get a slowdown penalty, so you don't want to do it on the last lap as well. Here we go. He's going to make it actually into turn 1, perhaps. Got to allow, it's going to be side-by-side action. He's got to make sure that Dean Powell's aware that he's there.
Out of it.
Yep.
Probably a good choice, honestly.
Reece has got it. So next up on his hit list is James, and then, of course, his arch-rival enemy in the championship, JW's in P2.
We go back to Dylan Thomas, the Fishy Motorsports Mustang finds himself in between the 2 Race on Oz entries. Charlie Milliken out in front in the Acura, Dean Jacobson in the Porsche behind. These 3 battling it out for 12th, and a little bit of track position either side that just gives them a bit of room to breathe. I've got to wonder, Biggles, how close are we getting here to the clouds coming over? Are we going to get this done in time? Surely not.
I'll spill my drink bottle out there in a couple of corners and just throw them off. And they'll be like, do we box for wets?
Aaron Gilbert wide again.
Yeah.
James Salhani, though, starts to drop back. So Gilbert in the Mustang just making a little bit of progress, trying to recover some positions he's lost since the start of this race. The question now, Kyle Ridley and Jeremy Washington, when do they come in and box?
Hey, the interesting thing is too, is stretching it as much as you can, because if you do have to switch over to wet weather tyres,
Well,
you might want to wait for that rain to come, isn't it? Because
That's a good
otherwise,
point.
those drivers that have already taken those pit stops earlier, and Daddy P set the fastest lap on that one. He's trying to get past Joshua at the moment, which is crucial for that situation to make your way up to the field. If they have to go down pit road again, that boxing early strategy is not going to pay off, my friend.
No, exactly right. And Danny P, he's only down 2 spots from the 17th he started, but with Josh Benno, he's one of the front runners in terms of drivers who have made their first pit stop.
We are looking at rain approximately, well, it could be prolonged on this one, but the drops might start occurring in the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, the weather's still looking okay for the moment. The question will be, how hard does that rain hit? We did see on the weather forecast at the start of this session anywhere up to about 60 or 70% rainfall, which I can tell you from experience is some pretty heavy rain here in iRacing, and that will change the condition of this track very, very quickly. They're not going to be able to get away with maybe just pushing on with the slicks for an extra lap or two here, Biggles. They're going to have to dive in as soon as that rain arrives.
And JW's caught our racing leader pretty drastically as well once he got in clear air. So he's going to be mounting the pressure big time on Kyle Ridley very, very soon.
Danny P and Josh Benno going at it. Daniel almost getting through out of the hairpin there. Having to drop back in again, but he's got the pace. Question is, can Josh Benno hold him off? Still a long way to go here in race number 2. We're barely through lap 9. And out in front, Kyle Ridley and Jeremy Washington crossing the line to start lap 10. Ridley's just going to have to hang in there at the moment. The question is Washington going to push ahead? Or is he just going to sit in behind and try and save a bit of fuel? I think that's the strategy here, isn't it, Biggles? If we know rain's coming, you want to sit in behind and save a bit of fuel so you can get as long as possible out of this restricted starting fuel so you don't have to come in twice. You want to make it to the wet tyres on your opening fuel and then fill up. That's going to be a real challenge.
Difficult. Yeah, so I'm going to crunch some maths.
Quick maths.
Jeremy's going to crunch his way maybe past Kyle.
Side by side, it looks like Washington's got the run. Ridley goes very, very wide to try and maintain the pace, and he gets the position back. Beautifully done by Kyle Ridley. But Washington has the inside run into the next turn. Still though, Ridley pushing hard. There goes Washington. Can Ridley hang in there and maintain that side by side? He can. Ridley doing a phenomenal job of defending against last season's champion and likely to be this season's champion. Ridley though pushes him very, very wide. Has the inside on that turn. He's going to have to go very hard. A little bit of rubbing of panels there. Here comes James Bunker. 3 McLarens out in front. And look who it is. Reese Wakefield has caught them.
Wow, absolutely fantastic at the moment. Kyle's defending too for now. Look where he's positioning the car in the middle of the racetrack. He's not making it easy at the moment. You got a sweeping right-hander coming up at the moment, which should favour at the moment Kyle Ridley, and it does, as long as you can get a good exit out of this final corner. See the chicanes out, we will. So, massive defending at the moment there from essentially the world champion here for the MC Motorsports. Almost, of course, but Carl's going to have to do that. And, of course, it's bringing James in and Reese back into play now.
It has. So Ridley and Washington, this battle is slowing them both down. Bunker and Wakefield are now into it as well. I don't think Washington's going to be too worried about Wakefield at this point. But who knows? Maybe Washington's just really keen to have a chat to us as a race winner here tonight. Is it just me, Biggles, or did the sky just get a little darker there for a moment?
Oh, we did. I'm keeping an eye on it, my friend. Don't you worry about that. I got the plane out there, cloud seeding.
It's going to be a downpour, mate. The more I look at this radar, and I wish I could bring it to you there at home, folks, but the more I look at this radar, the less optimistic I am that we're going to have a completely clean 32 laps here. If it arrives as hard as it looks like it might, I suspect we're going to see drivers off all over the place. Wakefield, a huge send, and takes the position from Bunker. From just the smallest of mistakes from James Bunker there, and Wakefield's through up into 3rd. So he's going to be up in the back of Jeremy Washington in no time. Kyle Ridley, though, doing a phenomenal job to hold off last season's champion, the only Dan's McLaren. Jeremy Washington, JW Racing, putting on an absolute show here tonight of how to pressure a driver. Kyle Ridley, though, equally matched the task. The defensive masterclass we're seeing. He is absolutely making that McLaren as wide as he possibly can and completes another very, very classy lap, holding off Jeremy Washington. I don't know how long he can keep it up, though. Wakefield, fastest lap.
Yeah, I'm just crunching these numbers here.
How's it looking, Biggles?
It's going to be close. There's going to be rain, but whether it's heavy enough. We're talking about towards the very end of this race as well, too. So these guys are going to be absolutely on the limits of gasoline. They're going to have to probably come in a little bit earlier. You see that side-by-side battle between Kyle and Jeremy, and don't forget about Reece Wakefield now, who's in the background. Yeah, you might have to go down a pit road before that, and then you might have to come back into pit road again to put some wet weather tyres on if it rains very late in this race, which it will rain, but just how heavy it will be and when, because there's 21 laps remaining, and I'm expecting that around lap 17 or so probably will start raining. Sorry, 17, yeah, laps from now. But how heavy? You've got to stick it out maybe on dries.
Well, that's the ask, right? What if we get to the last 2 laps and it just starts to absolutely belt down? Do you just creep through and
you'd have to creep through, wouldn't you? Because you'd lose so many positions in a pit lane. But
right.
That's a good gamble for those other drivers that are behind you to take that gamble.
Slow as Washington got him here. Jeremy Washington slots back in behind. Ridley doing an amazing job. You think he's lost the drive out of the corner, but just sets it up so beautifully. Reece Wakefield's stuck here as well. James Bunker hanging on the back. The Just Me is Dean Powell starting to close the gap as well.
Yeah. And this is absolutely fantastic, of course, you'd have to say, for Carl, because he's got maybe Danny P in this championship, and does he have enough points to even take Reece Wakefield? But Reece Wakefield being behind him, no. But he's doing his absolute best to make sure he signs, seals, and delivers that P3.
Yeah, it's looking really promising for Ridley. We're going to have to keep a very, very close eye on his pit stop and see where he comes out. Right now, Danny P in 17th, so he is leading the cars that have made that first pit stop. Did it on lap 1, but very likely... Oh, a bit of a moment from Ridley. He goes very wide. Washington sneaks through. Can he get the drive out of that hairpin? It doesn't look like he's going to. Washington might have just had him here. Wakefield can't get it done either. Ridley drops to second. Look, a massive effort from Ridley.
Oh, yeah.
Here comes Wakefield, though. Big send up.
Yeah, he might drop 2 places currently at the moment. He might have used up a lot trying to defend against JW there at that point. Reece Wakefield's going to go through. Either that or he's just given up on that fight there with him. But absolutely fantastic, you'd have to say. If you're going to put your money on a driver to challenge JW for the championship next season, if they're driving, you have to put your money on KR.
I mean, Ridley's in there, isn't he? Wakefield, of course, always going to be a very, very fast driver in this series, but Ridley has absolutely shown it this season. We've got a safety car called.
Whoa. Now, Henry King had an accident I'm seeing just before.
Let's go back, and I'm not actually seeing that one here.
Oh, this is prolonged the race now. This is prolonged. That means that weather that was coming is coming, and it will rain. May come sooner than later. This is pit stops for some of the drivers.
That looks like.
Bossman in, Patrick in. Will these other drivers elect to go there to the pit stop right now and take advantage of that caution? Or do they stay out and not lose track position?
I mean, you've got to stay out, don't you? You've got to take advantage of the fuel saving.
You lose track position, you get caught up in a lot of traffic in changeable conditions. Is difficult, but you stay out. And
hang on, I'm just keeping on this. Nathan Allen actually looks like he's still in his pit bay. I'm waiting on race control to confirm if they are actually calling a safety car here or not.
I think they're on full speed.
These guys are still at a fair pace. I was watching Reece Wakefield there like he was looking to pass, but perhaps we're just waiting on Nathan Allen coming out as they make their way around on this lap. We'll have to wait and see. We could be jumping the gun here, Biggles. The safety car may not be coming out, but unusual to see a driver in the seat of the safety car if we're not about to see it enter the track.
Yeah, so they're still at full pace at the moment, so no confirmation. There is the confirmation that Reese Wakefield's put massive pressure on Jeremy Washington for the lead of this race, so that is the situation, and that is confirmed. Rain lurking, you might see some drops occurring in the next 10 minutes, but nothing too major, just like a bit of windscreen wiper fluid that's built up in the windscreen, will be about as much as the driver's going to see for now.
So the good news is, folks, false alarm, Nathan Allen just getting in the car and prepping. He's not actually coming out on track right now, so no safety car at the moment. We are still under full race conditions. James Sahani off the track in the background. I reckon this is my call, Biggles. Nathan Allen knows that rain's coming. He's getting ready to go out on track the minute the first driver spins when it arrives.
Well, yeah. Jared, I'll tell you right now, have a look at the safety car to see if they've already put the wet weather tyres on it. That'll give you an even bigger indication of what they're expecting, wouldn't it?
It would. I'm gonna go digging now to see if we can see the tyre compound on the safety car.
It's got snow tyres currently on there, and they've put chains on those tyres at the moment going, yeah, there's some conditions coming. No, it's still dry tyres, I can see from
dry
Nathan
tyres at
Allen's.
the moment.
Yeah, so they're not risking it for that one just yet for the pace car.
Reese
So
Wakefield continues further back. Dean Powell looks like he's just given that position up to Aaron Gilbert there, or has it been a case of James Salhani close behind? Look at these guys swerving back and forth. Dean Powell doing everything he can to hold off Salhani, who's been absolutely flying. The other SLM Motorsport entry, looking to improve his position. Currently sitting in 7th, trying desperately to get past Dean Powell. So far unable to do it. Dean Powell making that Mustang as wide as he possibly can. The gap out in front for Jeremy Washington and Reese Wakefield starting to extend. Just a little Salhani into the pits. So he's going for fuel.
Yeah.
Our front runner's still
Track
out on track.
temperature's 32, air temperature 21. Keep an eye on that.
We are getting closer and closer to a change of conditions here. Halfway through the race now, you can see the horizon starting to look a little dark as our front runners make their way around on lap 16 of 32. Race number 2, the final round of the Domains2U GT3 Championship here with MC Motorsport. And what a season it's been, Biggles.
And Reese Wakefield may have the lead at the moment.
Gets
Got a good exit out of the corner.
through the hairpin.
Yes, he does.
So Washington tucks in behind now. We know Washington plays the strategy. Did he mean to give up that spot? Is he just trying to get him a slipstream and save a little more fuel here to make it to the tyre change?
We know he's an Only Dan fan.
He absolutely is. Speaking
And,
of,
Dan
Danny
is
P
in
back in
13th.
13th. But that position will absolutely improve as these drivers come in for their pit stops. That's it.
Yeah, of course.
He's going to need wet tyres at some point.
He's 35 seconds off this leading pack at the moment there, Danny P, after that 38 or so second pit stop. So you can imagine he'll be very close to these race leaders. He's been doing some good banker laps there too, Danny P has, in clean air. And currently at the moment he's practically been matching the race pace of the leaders for a good chunk of his first stint.
Further back, Josh Benno and Nathan Bowman, the two Porsches side by side. As Benno gets past Bowman and continues to try and track down Danny P. Doesn't want to let him get too far away out in front. Big slowdown there for Benno perhaps. He's jumped that curb pretty significantly. Still hanging in there though for the moment.
Oh no, you're a driver, man. That curb came out and bumped the driver.
Yeah, something
how
like
it
that.
works.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Out
Get
in
on the
front
radio,
though.
race control.
We make our way through the hairpin. Washington's still right there on Wakefield's tail, so Wakefield not extending at the moment. Wakefield's last lap of 38.34 to Washington's 39.23. That's interesting. Washington much slower, so unusual for the number one wearing driver. Got to wonder what the strategy is here. I'm really, really curious, Biggles, to see if Washington and Wakefield can make it far enough into this race that they're going to be able to actually take fuel and the tyre change at once.
And
Huge
interesting
ask.
as well too, how much time you're going to lose, because you can't just switch it straight onto wets if it's just light rain, which is what I'm expecting at the very start of it. it's later on, deeper into that race with about 5 or 6 laps ago where it'll be heavy enough where that'll be the crossover point where if you hadn't made a pit stop, you would go, okay, it's time to switch it over to wets. But you might be able to drop a couple of seconds to keep the car on the track if it's, just a little bit of light rain. But it's one thing as well too. You've got to keep it on the track because a little bit of a mistake right now can have that car into the barriers and that's game over.
Really interesting. Still a lot of blue sky around. Does make me wonder. Is this going to be enough rain to even be a problem? Are we talking?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm working on now. Well, there's rain. I just don't think it's going to be enough. The Dean's gone in, Dylan's gone in, Thomas. So that's 9th and 10th, 10th and 11th place at the moment. That'll give Danny P those positions. It'll give Joshua those positions, Norman those positions, Dan those positions.
Jeremy Washington doing everything he can to hold on to the back of the Antic Motorsports NSX. Wakefield though, he's got the pace here again tonight. It's impressive though just how much of a clinic Washington has put on throughout this season in consistency. That's why he finds himself on top of the championship ladder. It is 100% his consistency across the 7 rounds so far, and again here tonight. He hasn't won every single round, but he's consistently placed well enough that he's found himself out in front fairly comfortably and on track right now for a stellar finish.
That's all you need to do. Consistency is key to winning championships. I mean, you go into the next season as well too going, my target is to get a top 10 in every race, and I guarantee you've got yourself a top 5 at least in the championship by the end of the season. James Bonker goes in from P4.
As does Dean Powell in P6, so we must be starting to get close to the end of this this opening fuel stint. I wonder how much Washington and Wakefield have got left. At a certain point, they're going to have to decide that they're just going to have to come in, get the fuel, and come back in again for tyres if the rain does arrive. So
it'll be difficult as well too, because in a couple of minutes you might see some spots, and that might scare the drivers a little bit as well too, into thinking, oh, can I stretch a couple more laps if the rain gets heavier? They're not lifting, are they? They're still doing 38s at the moment.
Full pace still. Washington Wakefield starting to extend. Ridley now over 3 seconds behind, but a further 5 seconds back to Aaron Gilbert, so really well positioned here. And it might just be enough to sneak him onto the podium for the championship. We go on board with Reece Wakefield. Can't quite see from our camera just how much fuel might be left there. Not seeing a low fuel warning at this stage, but it doesn't mean that we ordinarily would. It's always hard to tell what iRacing will and won't show us from a spectator's position. Wakefield, though, certainly not looking to save any fuel. He is pushing very hard still because he knows he wants to keep out in front of Jeremy Washington.
They don't show it, unfortunately. We can't get that information.
There we go.
I'd love to. Yeah, well,
so
there
Wakefield
we go.
as is Washington, as is Ridley.
And Kyle.
So keep your eye now on Danny P. This will be the question. Where does he come out? We know that the pit stops here are quick. Danny P's was 38.5 seconds. Kyle Ridley already 20 seconds into his. Washington and Wakefield already 24 seconds into theirs. This is going to be close. So the last of the drivers coming in for their fuel stops. Wakefield's on his way out. As Danny P rounds the final corner, Ridley coming out of his box. Jeremy Washington out of his. So Ridley getting out ahead of Washington. Ridley a very quick stop. Washington taking a bit longer there, 22.55.
And Danny P should be side by side Washington as well. Whoa, Washington just gets him.
Sneaks
just
through.
Gets him as he exits pits.
Now, here's an interesting one for you. Trev Mortimer, back in 15th, on his way out of the pits right now. He's put the wets on.
Well, that's way too soon, my friend. It's a gamble, but that is
a massive gamble. With 12
that's
laps
a huge gamble. He's going to get eaten alive by it. He's got to wait probably at least 5 laps in order for those to come. Well, when the rain comes down, at least 5 laps after that in order for them to come in effect. So
He's got to make those tires survive. Yeah. That's a big ask.
He's going to make those tires. Yeah, that's 13 laps.
Danny P gets through on Jeremy Washington, but Washington's going to hold on to the back of him. Kyle Ridley, though, 3 seconds up the road in second, an absolutely stellar pit stop. I do wonder if he has underfueled a little bit there, knowing that he's going to have to come back in for tyres, and he'll just do a little bit of a splash of fuel when he comes back in.
That's a gamble because the rain's now being delayed a little bit. I'm looking at the weather, it's been forecasted back another 10 minutes. So this will get even closer to the rain coming down at the very end of the race, but probably not enough time. It's forecasted to, it's changing, of course. It's dynamic weather. That's the beauty of it. It's just like the real world scenario. You can predict it, but you can't, it's not guaranteed until those clouds come over.
Absolutely not. A couple of battles going on elsewhere in the pack. This is Mirko and Bowman side by side. A little bit of contact there. Bowman putting the pressure on. He's up the inside here. Big contact. That's Mirko sideways. Nathan Bowman is going to probably slow down and redress here, although he may just continue at this stage. Not much left to lose back in 21st. Just getting a little bit too much argy-bargy going on there. Dean Power, meanwhile, has Patrick Frame on his tailpipe for 10th position.
Rain expected in 10 minutes now. So
doing the maths here, we're gonna get maybe 3 or 4 laps of rain.
Yeah.
The question's going to be, how heavy is that rain?
Yeah, that's true. It's not saying it's going to be ridiculously heavy at the start there. That's going to just murder Trevor, unfortunately, in P16. We'll see what sort of... He's did 2 minutes... Well, last lap was 2 minutes 20.
Yeah, very, very slow on those wet tyres. Looking at the gap for Trev Mortimer, he's in 16th at the moment. He's 35 seconds back from the leaders right now. So if they did come in and pit for tyres, big moment for Ryan Palmer, just overcooking it. Yeah, look, Mortimer might pick up a good stack of positions here, but that's if he doesn't completely destroy those tyres running them on the dry surface.
Yeah, he's going to be really gingerly through the high-speed section as well. You got to give it to Danny P. That strategy has paid off for him. Boxing on lap 1, up 14 places in a P3. Also worked out for Joshua in P6 at the moment. He's up 2 places. He also took that gamble on hitting on lap 1.
You have to wait and see how it all plays out from here. Mitch Curry, the boss man, not the way that he wanted to spend his final race here for the season. The back end of that Mustang just stepping out a little too far, and we've seen it all day from the Mustangs here. The IRAP Designs replay once again showing us that the Mustangs just cannot seem to find the traction here tonight.
It's unfortunate for the boss man. He's made a few mistakes into the first heat race as well too, and now another one. Simon and Trev, well, Simon's getting around Trevor. In fact, a few cars are going to be getting around Trevor at the moment. There's this sitting target there for the Mercedes and those wet weather tyres on the dry track. Charlie gets past him as well.
Look, you can understand why he's done it. I think he's trying everything he can to just pick up those extra couple of spots later on, but I just don't know if those tyres are going to stay in one piece for long enough. I mean, it's only 10 laps, but at the same time, it's 10 laps that he's got to get through on wet on a perfectly dry track. He's either going to be sacrificing heaps of time or shredding them.
I think it's going to be heavy enough to affect that he's not going to get the game performance anyway over the rest of the drivers in that situation. But hey, it's a gamble. It's the last race.
Worth a gamble. Why
you
not?
Might as well have a bit of fun. He's probably having absolute fun there for the road racing entries. Like, yeah, you know, it might have worked, it might not have. I had a long shot, took a gamble, but why not have some fun? Henry King and Mitch Curry as well.
Mitch Curry.
Henry King stopped out on track.
Henry King with some big damage to the rear end of that car. We might go back and see if we can...
it's scrabbled
big in a
time.
big way. Wow. That Lamborghini not looking healthy. Can he even make it back to the pits? That rear left is completely destroyed. He's just
somewhere as well.
Doing everything he can to get it around the track right now.
But it's the rear suspension that's smashed. So he's got steering. Yeah, he's got steering at the front, but the rear end wheel's just facing completely in. So it's almost impossible to drive it straight. If you can park it somewhere, safely off the road, it won't cause a caution. But
big
if he can't,
snap oversteer back in the other direction.
I don't
think
think
that's-
survived that impact.
Yeah, I don't think that's what's done the damage here, though. As he tries to get back on track, I'm wondering if he's either lost it again in the marbles here, or if there's been some damage from another car. Let's keep an eye on it. There's Henry King and Mitch Curry. So not Mitch Curry. That's one of the ADHD entries.
Yeah, but he does make it back into pit road. He's just entering in there now. So fantastic driving from Henry King.
Oh, and again,
to
just a
somehow-
snap oversteer over the chicane. That's
where
the
it
damage.
smacked it. That's where it
Straight
smacked
into
it.
the firewall
Still,
and-
the wing didn't get damaged. Amazing.
Yeah, look,
They
I'd
build
much
them
rather
strong.
lose a rear bar than a rear wing, that's for sure. These cars are horrific to drive without a wing on the back.
Track temperature 31 now. It's only dropped 1 degree. No clouds still. No rain clouds.
They've got to be coming, surely. You can see them gathering on the horizon. I just don't know if they're going to get here before the race end at this point. We're down to about 8 laps to go, folks, and the story right now, Reese Wakefield, all of the pace out in front has just set a 137.99. A very, very quick lap on some reasonably new, but certainly not brand new tyres. Kyle Ridley maintaining a solid grip on P2 ahead of Danny P and Jeremy Washington. And of course, Danny P and Washington continue to battle it out for third position here. Josh Benno almost 5 seconds further back. We're watching the battle for 8th right now. Aaron Gilbert trying desperately to catch up to Dean Powers' Mustang, and in the background, Patrick Frame from Antic Motorsports also doing his best to close the gap. But only a couple of really tight battles going on right now. Nathan Bowman and Trev Mortimer going at it. Bowman should have the pace because Mortimer, again, out there on wet tyres, should not have the speed through corners to hold him off. And further up the road, Charlie Milliken and Simon Caplet at 15.
It's 4 second lap difference at the moment. Trevi's got on the rest of the field. They're doing 141s and doing 145. So no doubt, only a matter of time before Norman gets past Trevi and takes that P19 position as Jeremy Washington is trying to take DP's. Danny's P3 position with his 14 positions gain in this race.
And it has been a big drive for Danny P. That early pit absolutely paying off for him at the moment. 14 positions up from the starting position of 17th. After that horror slowdown through that final chicane, I'm sure he'll be looking at the finish line this time around and giving it perhaps just a little more space and a little more respect to not have the same thing happen again, because he knows that Kyle Ridley is really in a position to challenge here for third place in the championship. And in fact, I'm not actually sure just how far apart they'll need to be separated, but Danny P's going to have to really get ahead of Ridley, and Ridley's going to have to drop back. We know that based on race 1's results, Ridley's probably got him here.
8 laps to go. The rain is still following itself. Not seeing any clouds that are coming over the racetrack at the moment to do any rain. And if they do, it's going to be pretty light rain, I'd imagine. The forecast is roughly for about 12% chance of rain. And Dean Jacobson has also gone off the track some as well too. There'll be electrical. Oh, there's contact there.
Nathan
Both going
Bowman
off the
and
track.
Trevor Mortimer. Bowman gets the worst of it though. Big contact. And not at all what he would have hoped for there.
It seems a bit impatient. I don't know, doesn't it? Because you don't got to know that Trev is on the wet weather tyres. Surely his team would let him know that one and could have bided his time for an overtake.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, it could just be that Bowman was already carrying a little damage that was slowing him down as well. Nathan Bowman's best time here, a 1:39.46, and the previous full lap that he completed was a 1:41. So, you know, he has been faster than Trev Mortimer pretty consistently since Mortimer got onto the wet tyres. But if Mortimer's throwing up a solid defensive effort, then may not have realised.
Track temperature dropped another 2 degrees. Actually, it's dropped to 29 now. It's
Sunlight's starting to disappear.
Yeah, last
Getting a little
couple
dark.
of laps.
We've got to be getting close here, Biggles.
This is when you need a caution. It's when you need a pace car to come out there and just delay the race a little bit for the rain to come harder. That's what I like to see.
This is the great thing, and something I really both respect and enjoy about the MC Motorsport series, the real world weather. They don't preset the weather. They set it according to the live forecast on the day of the race, and whatever happens, happens. It really is just, it's such a refreshing change from so many series that have fixed weather or always perfect conditions, so you're basically just hot lapping your entire race. It makes for such a more entertaining watch for us at home, the viewers, and of course us here in the commentary booth. When you're sitting here having these conversations.
I'm going to jump down from the commentary box there, right? I'm going to strip down to my bare, you know what, and then hold up a sign there and go, you know, not a protest, but Domains2U. All right, now I'm going to force this caution to come out on the track there, of course, because it's dangerous for me to be running around on the track.
That it is.
Dangerous
some of us seeing you running around like that on the Civics.
Yeah, that too. It's all right, you can just blur it out on the screen, right? Just pixelate it. Pixelate me running around the track. And then, of course, yeah, we'll prolong this race a little bit later for that rain. I promised everybody was going to rain, so I'm going to make it rain somewhere along the line, mate, even if I have to stop this race.
We get closer and closer now to the end of this race. The end of this season is just around the corner. Kyle Ridley, after race 1, a 10-point lead over Danny P.
I'm seeing clouds. Finally on the radar, they're coming over. Yeah, it's going to be close. All right, my prediction now there in 3 minutes time.
5 laps to go.
I'm giving you 3
We've
minutes.
got about 2 laps till the rain arrives. I think these drivers are going to have to get home on the slicks.
Yeah,
because you can't afford to change tyres
and
now.
Trev comes in a pit right now from those wets.
No, he's coming for a drive-through.
Drive-through.
That's a drive-through for the contact with Nathan Bowman. So that's going to be straight in and back out of the pit lane. So the maths here for Kyle Ridley looks like this: 10 points the difference after race number 1. Even if he finishes behind Danny P and Jeremy Washington, Danny P's only going to pick up, if my maths is right, 6 points on Ridley. If Ridley can just hang in there for these last 4 laps and finish with this group, doesn't have to be in front of it, but with this group, then he picks himself up a championship podium.
That's impressive, absolutely.
I'm not sure what podium is, but that's apparently what I wanted to call it tonight.
Podium's a championship podium. Yeah, there you go. A podium.
So Danny P,
all right,
he's got some work to do, but Ridley still remaining consistent. And in fact, his best lap just there now, 1:38.61 to Danny P's 1:38.65 and a 38.57 from Washington. So the 3 of them evenly matched. I don't know if Danny P's going to be able to get a pass done here. It's really going to require a massive mistake from Ridley, and I can't see that happening right now. Further back, Patrick Frame and Aaron Gilbert on the back of Dean Power. Look at this, 2 wide. Are we going 3 wide with the hairpin? Not quite. Gilbert looks up the inside, thinks about going with Dean Power. Patrick Frame finds himself off the back, and Dean Power maintains 8th for the moment, but Aaron Gilbert looking for an opportunity to make the pass, as is Frame. This one's been going on for a little while. I don't know how good the tyres are going to be on a Mustang, but Frame actually pitted 6 laps earlier than these guys, so he's already running on some slightly older rubber, and you see him run just a little wide there into the kitty litter. Not much to it, but these guys will swap positions a couple more times before this race is done, I'm sure. Back to the front, or near enough to it, Reece Wakefield out on his own, almost 9 seconds ahead. Kyle Ridley doing everything he can to hold off Danny P and Jeremy Washington right behind him. They cross the line and start lap 29. Are we going to see rain? Is it going to have any impact tonight?
Yeah, it won't. I don't think now. It might just be lurking. The problem is the winds have just dropped off a little bit. They're only 6 km/h winds. The rain's coming in, approaching from the west, but the wind speed's just not enough, so it's pushing it back a little bit. It's going to hit the track, but unfortunately, because the wind speed's not picked up enough, it's not probably going to hit the track in time. 4 laps to go. I might not even get a sprinkle on the track, actually, believe it or not. So
these drivers will be cheering, mind you.
Is a little off on that one. Track temperature is 28 and holding, so you start seeing it drop down to about 26 or 25. You know, the rain's definitely going to be there, but I don't think it's going to unfortunately have an impact on the final race of the season.
Absolutely right. So Kyle Ridley almost there, doing everything he can to hold on. Danny P has been right on his tail for lap after lap after lap after lap. Ridley has put on a phenomenal drive here tonight, as have all of the front runners. Reece Wakefield, you can't argue with the pace that he's had here tonight. 9 seconds and change out in front of Ridley, Danny P and Washington. Look, could Danny P perhaps be closing that gap to Wakefield if Ridley wasn't playing such a solid defensive race here? Maybe, but that's all a little bit hypothetical really, because with Ridley positioned where he is, there's nothing Danny P can do but hold on to the back and wait for enough of a mistake to open the door for him, and it's just not happening at this point. He keeps closing right up to within a couple tenths, but Ridley is absolutely solid.
Will he send it? Will he risk it for the biscuit? Just, I mean, it still won't be enough, will it, to hold on?
Even if he passes Ridley, Ridley should have the championship podium.
And Ridley has enough points from the previous race to actually, like, they can't do a cross center moment either. Because if he does, Carl gets it.
Oh, look at this. Ridley up the inside of Trev Mortimer. Mortimer dives out of the way. But that's enough. Danny P goes through. So that little bit of lap traffic, just enough for Danny P to make the pass on Ridley. Now, is Ridley going to push and try and reclaim this, or is he happy to just sit in the middle?
He could be happy to sit it, but he set the pace. I mean, sure, he went. They're on the podium, so they got the bubbly stuff between these two drivers at the moment. But he might be a little bit more threatened by Jamie Washington behind him.
Well, so Washington's been really comfy back there. He hasn't looked like he's been trying to push too hard at the moment. Dean Jacobson, look at this on the back of Simon Caplet. Henry King in the background. Jacobson goes through. Caplet just not getting the pace out of that last turn. Jacobson up the inside as they come to the hairpin. Caplet just sits back in behind, takes 17th place and continues on, holding Henry King off for the moment. I think Keefe's on the money. SLM Gaming weather won't make it in time. It's really not looking that way, is it? As Ridley bounces over the curb. Danny P.
No, it's not going to make it now.
And Washington all launching. And I think the numbers are right. As long as Ridley can stay in the top 5, he should have the championship P3. What a stellar finish to his season.
Absolutely.
2 laps to go.
Gladiators.
1.5 laps to go. It's counting down. A big thank you from Courtney to you, Keefe, for calling that one out. And I can tell you he's absolutely on the money, Courtney. At this stage, bar a major accident for Kyle Ridley, he's secured himself 3rd place in the championship, which is pretty phenomenal considering that he hasn't featured at the front end of the field. He hasn't won many races. In fact, only a few podium appearances really throughout the season. But again, the consistency has been what's gotten him to where he is here. And look, a little touch of luck with Danny P's slowdown on the final corner in race 1 brought him right back into it here for race 2, and it's going to be enough in the end.
Yeah, you go back to race 4 at Watkins Glen. Kyle Ridley was running 6th in the championship, so he's just been going up,
chipping away at it.
Yep.
Reece Wakefield crosses the line, brings out the white flag, and what can you say about this bloke? Absolutely dominating here tonight, no question about it. He has been the fastest man on track by a long shot, and he's going to take a very, very easy win here in race number 2. The battle continues here though. Danny P, Kyle Ridley and Jeremy Washington all equally quick in their own rights. Ridley's holding on for a P3 here in race 2 if he can make it.
Does Jeremy have a send here and say, I want podium, I want the public stuff for my championship? I mean, no doubt we'll get to speak to him anyway, even if he doesn't get a podium because he's the championship winner. But it'd still be nice for him, wouldn't it, to get a final podium for the season and wrap up the championship? But he's going to get past Carl, and that going to be an easy.
James Salhani getting all out of shape in the hairpin there. Late in the day, the tyres starting to show a bit of wear, and unfortunately just not having the brakes to pull it up in time. We're almost there, folks. Reese Wakefield is getting closer and closer to wrapping up tonight's racing. We'll keep an eye on this one, though.
Because Jeremy Washington has Danny P on the bonnet, right? So he'd be liking to put that Danny P's face right into the back there of the Antique Motorsports 970, isn't it? After they cross the line, of course, because he's a responsible driver, and then just go, here you go, Danny P.
Here's the checkered flag.
Slam to the back.
Reese Wakefield crosses the line and takes the win. As we go back to Kyle Ridley, he gets there in the end. Danny P crosses, takes second. Kyle Ridley in third. Jeremy Washington in fourth. But your championship winner, Jeremy Washington, celebrating all the way home. A fantastic drive, of course, for Reese Wakefield tonight. But this man, Jeremy Washington, all season has been so consistent, and he'll be walking away keeping his number one for next season. What a way to defend the inaugural championship, to win the first two. A stellar way to cap off this season for Jeremy Washington. I'm running out of adjectives for him, honestly. It's been such a great season.
And his car is well too. He's got Ryan. DJ Palmer was here. He's got that rolling start there from Danny P. He's the only dance fan, and he's celebrating in style as JW wraps up another one, keeps the number one, and you are the number one driver, JW, the man from Adelaide, gets the job done, wraps up a championship. Happy camper.
Absolutely. And while we watch him finishing this one off, let's go to the race winner, race 2. Reese Wakefield, you with us?
I am. Hello.
Mate, an absolutely massive drive to take the win here. 10.5 seconds over P2. Huge performance. Unfortunately, not enough to shut down Jeremy Washington tonight, but a massive season for you, mate. Congratulations on a great final round, but also a P2, if I'm not mistaken, unless there's been some massive changes in numbers over this race. A P2 of the championship for the season, mate.
Yeah, I think we've done the math, and it's a P2. I mean, look, I can't be more happy, to be honest. It's one step up from last season, so I'm pretty chuffed with it. That means I only got one more step to go. But huge congrats to Danny, to Jeremy. Like, they've all had a phenomenal season, and for the championship to be that close this year, I couldn't have asked for anything else.
No, mate, it's been a great season. Awesome fun to watch from our perspective. We're seeing you back again next season. I assume so, right?
Yeah, I'll be back for the next GT3 season. I won't be around for the V8 season because I'm going to do more GT3 stuff elsewhere, but I'll definitely be back for season 4.
Season 4, which is season 3 of this year. Yeah, we've got to find a good way to keep track of this, honestly. Mate, a great result for you tonight. Congratulations once again on taking out a couple of wins here at Magny-Cours. A huge way to finish your season off, and certainly an amazing showing here in the Domains2U GT3 Championship. We'll let you go and unwind and celebrate while we talk to your teammate, hey?
Real quickly, before I do go, I believe that solidifies an Antic 1, 2, 3 in the championship. I'm here to announce that Jeremy has now placed his allegiance with us over at Antic Motorsports.
Oh, the news breaks. There you go. So Jeremy Washington leaving his privateer JW Racing outfit and joining Antic Motorsports.
Super stoked. Jeremy is going to be a massive part in all endurance races moving forward, championships moving forward. Just having that extra car that's on the same pace as Danny and I, it's going to be a huge boost for both of us.
Oh, that's great to hear. I look forward to catching up to him and having a chat to him about that in just a moment. Mate, that is a massive finish. It's look, I feel like it might be snatching that 1, 2, 3 a little bit at the death, but I'll allow it. Well done tonight, mate, and looking forward to chatting to you in the next GT3 season.
Thanks for an amazing season, like always.
Reese Wakefield taking out the wins here tonight, and look, great set of results, Biggles. Absolutely.
Yeah, breaking news as well. Absolutely.
Absolutely breaking news. I love it. It's been an awesome night. Who do we go to next? That's the question. I think we start with our third place for race number 2. Kyle Ridley, welcome back to the booth, my friend.
Hey, how's it going?
Mate, very, very well. What a drive from you in race number 2. A massive defensive effort to try and hold off everyone behind you, and in the end, a P3 for race number 2. Well done, first of all, on the result there.
Yeah, thanks. I was using all the pots and pans in the kitchen to try and hold off those places, but I just didn't have the speed of the top 3. But, to carry it away, get myself a podium, I certainly can't complain.
No, look, a great drive right throughout. Very, very consistent. The big one, and some cheers going up for you in the YouTube chat right now. If our numbers are right, you should have secured third place in the championship, my friend. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm joined missing the first round and didn't get off to the best start as Zolder, so found my footing and found myself being a top 5 runner, podiums and one win here and there. But what happened is, I'm sure Daniel will tell you all about it when he gets in, but he got a slowdown on the last lap at the chicane in race 1, which cost him many places. So that's what ultimately won me P3 in the championship. So
yeah, we did get the update there. We were pretty shocked to look at the results and see him down in 17th, and thankfully Ryan Palmer from ADHD jumping into the YouTube chat to let us know what had happened. Mate, I'll tell you what, anything can happen in racing, and it certainly has tonight. What a way to get yourself onto the championship podium here to finish off the season for SLM Motorsport. A huge congrats. It's been great seeing you here in the GT3 Championship with Domains2U and MC Motorsport for this season. Are we going to see you in the Gen 3 V8s for next season, or are you waiting around for the next GT3 season beyond that?
You will see me on track. You will not see me in here. My skills in high-powered cars like that, I'll be ecstatic with a top 10. So we'll see how we go. But yeah, I want to thank MC and Motorsport and everything for putting this together. It's my first season here, and I've really enjoyed it. So I'm definitely staying.
Glad to hear it. Looking forward to having you back next season, Kyle. Congratulations again. Huge shout outs from Courtney Platts. Jeez, you might know her just a little.
I may know her.
You may know her, but also some other congrats flowing for you in the YouTube chat, so we'll let you go and check those out. What a way to finish the season. Congrats again, Kyle.
Thank you.
So Kyle Ridley takes the third place. We bring in the man, the myth, the legend, the self-proclaimed people's champion, Danny P. Unfortunately, probably not the result you were hoping for this season, but a very solid second place in race 2, mate.
Yeah, on paper, I finished second twice tonight. Sorry, on paper, but reality, but on paper, it's a bit different.
Yeah, look, it's not what you want in the end. Just that last little slowdown was what did it. Is what we're led to understand. Was it just jumping the curb a little, and that being just enough to give you that slowdown?
Yeah, I don't know if I jumped the curb, me jumping the curb was enough to get the slowdown, or if mid-rotation before I got off the curb I triggered it. But it had 0.9 of a second, and then as I was sideways coming across the line, it was at 0.7. And then I saw the 42 seconds for cutting the course. I was like, the heck?
iRacing doing iRacing things, mate.
Literally. I don't know. It is what it is.
It is.
Coming from 17th to second in that one was a fun. That was a great race.
Well, mate, you certainly can't argue with your result there. Absolutely. Up 15 positions in race 2 is a huge finish by any measure. So even though on paper the result's probably not what you deserved, definitely worth celebrating, mate. A great drive and a good result to finish off this round. Unfortunately, yeah, that race one just enough to push you back a little further in the championship, but I'm sure we'll see you back again for the next season of GT3s, right?
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I've got a few things to work on, but I'll come back firing on all cylinders.
And would it be fair to suggest that you're probably going to sit out the V8 while you concentrate on the other GT3 seasons that you're running in at the moment?
Yeah, there's a bit of a plan between myself, Jeremy, and Reese in terms of moving forward. But GT Pro is my biggest focus at the moment, at least this new iRacing GT3 tyre model, getting my head wrapped around that. But that'll be where all my efforts are going to moving on.
Good to hear, mate. Well, we look forward to seeing those results happen a little further away from home than this. But until we see you back in the Domains2U GT3 Championship next time around, mate, bloody well done. And and a very, very large pleasure on our part to have you back in the booth once again for the season.
Yes. Thank you, fellas. One last second, I just want to shout out the Shock Graphics Tyson for whipping up the liveries, showcase our sponsors, Aaron Marine, we've got Sim Magic and a few others that help us out. And big thanks to you guys, Jared and Biggles, for putting on such a fantastic broadcast. It's been a blast to race in it, but it's also been a blast to watch back and laugh with friends at work and outside of hours, and time and effort that you guys put into it is immense. But thank you so much, appreciate it.
Mate, you're most welcome. We can't do it without the efforts of the drivers on track. So it's all you guys bringing the noise for us. It's been a pleasure. Looking forward to chatting to you again soon, Danny.
Yes, we will. Otherwise, thank you guys. Have a good one. Thanks to the fans. Have a good one.
Thanks, mate. Danny P, not the night he wanted Biggles, I'm sure. But look,
No.
in the end, there's only one man left to speak to. Should we bring him in?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
I think he deserves it.
He's waited long enough. Jeremy Washington, welcome to the booth, my friend.
Hey Jared, how you doing?
Mate, it has been an absolutely stellar season all around. Your results throughout the season have been just so consistent, and to see the result tonight, taking the championship win, a huge and heartfelt congratulations to you, mate. It's so well deserved and so good to see after all of the effort all season.
Thanks, mate. It has definitely been a tough one, and it was built more on consistency than outright pace, but you got to be there at the end of the races to score the points, and it just worked out really well for me, and I'm over the moon.
So we did have a few thoughts on your strategy here tonight. We kind of, we weren't sure if you were going to just cruise along or if you were actually going to push on. Would it be fair to say, from our position at least, it looked like race one you're more content to just kind of sit in position and not try anything too silly, and then race two started to push a little bit harder?
Yeah, it was the first race. I was happy to get top 5 with that, and Ryan was in front, and I've seen him defend throughout the season. He's very strong on his defense, so I was happy to stay far away from him. Second race, again, I was trying to be cautious. I knew I just needed a top 10. But when you get up and you're fighting like, Kyle, I know I can trust him to go side by side, so we had a bit of fun there, and that spiced it up a little. But my strategy wasn't great. I was always, I knew I was going to lose out in the pits. I took 4 tyres just in case it rained, and I didn't want to just take 2 or 3 in case it threw off the balance or anything. So I was very conservative the whole race, and happy to stay out of the way of Danny and Reese when they came through. They had a lot of pace, so I was happy to let them by, and just keep my chin clean.
Well, mate, you've done everything right all season, and it hasn't required winning every single round to get you there. Just the consistency throughout all of this Domains2U GT3 Championship has been phenomenal to watch from our perspective, mate. It's so well deserved, and a huge congratulations for retaining that number 1 for the side of your car. Now, the thunder may have been stolen a little, but the announcement earlier from Reese Wakefield, another car joining the Antic Motorsports garage, mate. You're on your way over there.
Yes, we'd been talking about it for a few weeks between the team ownership and the members of the team, and we actually kind of agreed in principle almost at the start of the season, round 2 I think it was, but I didn't want to join while we were mid-championship, so I said I'd join after the end of this round, and now we'll be doing some other events besides MC Motorsports, but next season we'll be in the same stable and trying papaya rules, I guess. We'll see how it goes.
Mate, looking
Are you
forward to
Danny
seeing
P
it.
on the car and all the other sort of liveries that you have on there. I think you also had another driver on the front of your car as well too.
Yeah, I decided to keep it on this weekend so we could see it in the daylight, and make sure everyone could see Danny's big beautiful face on the front of that.
Well, we're getting a very good view of it right now, mate, as we take a look at some some slow-mo post-race footage of your celebrations and the roll back to the pits afterwards. I think I'm out of adjectives tonight. It's been such an amazing season. Anyone you want to thank before we call it a night here for season 3?
Yep, I definitely want to thank Mitch for putting the series together, and obviously Race Control, the stewards, the admin team. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and obviously in front of the scenes with you guys putting forward this great broadcast is really good. The driver count was really fantastic throughout the season, so I'm really grateful to the rest of the drivers that kept it interesting and kept going, wherever they were in the field. It was a really good showing, and to Reese, I want to thank him as well. He's been a great competitor. He's very, very quick, and I am sure he will be right there next season, and I'll be trying for the 3-peat, but it's going to be, I think, even tougher than this season once we get there.
It's going to be a big ask, but mate, I'm sure you're up to the task, and we look forward to watching it all the way. Congratulations once again. We're going to let you go and celebrate with what's left of the JW Racing team, and also with your new team as well, I'm sure. So congratulations once again, Jeremy. Champion back-to-back, a huge effort.
Thanks, Jared. Thanks, guys.
Jeremy Washington taking the win, and what a way to finish the season. We, of course, can't leave without a word from the man himself behind MC Motorsport, Mitch Curry. Welcome to the booth.
Hey boys, how are we?
Hey, Mitch.
Mate, we are just unpacking here what has been another absolutely fantastic season for MC Motorsport. The Domains2U GT3 Championship has been one of the best racing events that I've had the pleasure of watching so far in my admittedly short broadcasting history. But I tell you what, it's had thrills and spills right throughout. Biggles and I were left guessing all night tonight as to just what was going to happen with the weather. There's been so much discussion throughout the season as to what we could expect for the end of it. From your perspective, obviously you've been out on track racing it, but from a league organizer perspective, how did you find it? How are you feeling at the wrap up of this season?
Exhausted would be a word for it, mate. The amount of weather watching and just championship watching we did in that final race was crazy. But other than that, mate, it's been a fantastic season. Congratulations to Jeremy, our first back-to-back champion at MC in any class, any discipline, any series. So a massive congratulations to him, especially to hold off the likes of Reese Wakefield and Daddy P down there, 2 GT Pro drivers, but especially Kyle Ridley. He drove some phenomenal races this year. There's a couple of highlights. I think one of them was Canada. I think there was a 10th. Was the gap between first and second, which was just crazy. But it's been an absolute fantastic season. We can't wait to get back on track again for our next main series, the V8 Supercars. So that should be fantastic. That'll be starting on the 30th of June.
Just a few weeks away, and of course the big news there, Domains2U have signed on as the primary sponsor of the Gen 3s as well, so we'll be having their support again for the Gen 3 Supercar season.
Yeah, which is fantastic. We love having them guys on board, especially we've got Domains2U as a naming rights sponsor. We've got Sixpence Coffee, we've got iRap Designs, everything simulated, Maximum Effort Racing, you guys obviously as well, Simple Racing Broadcasts. I think the league's just going from strength to strength lately. It's definitely growing, and we're going in the right direction, trying to learn as we go, as we are still a very young league. We only turned 1 the other day, so I think we're definitely going in the right direction, and I can't wait to keep going with it.
Mate, cannot wait to bring more of the action next season. It's going to be a cracker. Look, I expect that we'll see pretty much the same that we've come to expect from MC Motorsport. We're going to have live weather. We're going to have Gen 3 supercars around some of the best tracks in the world on one of the best sim racing services in the world. Any other surprises up the sleeve that you want to tell us about now, or do we have to wait and see?
Definitely have to wait and see, mate. I can't give anything away now. That'd just ruin the surprise, wouldn't it?
That it would. Well, Mitch, thank you again, both on our behalf and on behalf of so many of the drivers who have mentioned it throughout our interviews across the season. The league may be young, but the way that it's conducting itself is absolutely being appreciated by everyone who's come into contact with it. And yeah, very much looking forward to seeing where it goes over the next couple of seasons and beyond as it continues to grow into hopefully the premier racing league in the country. Maybe a little way off yet, but you got to set the sights high, right?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to try and do what we can do to get this league up there. And I mean, we're just a bunch of racers ourselves that the admin team, we're just a bunch of racers that come together to put this together. In the end, we wanted a place to go and race, especially on iRacing, and we've developed it with a lot of help from a lot of outside help from the RC guys that stepped in. Obviously yourself, you were part of season 1 of GT3, mate. You missed a couple of races and thought, well, hang on a minute, why don't I give the streaming side a bit of a crack? And we are definitely glad you did. So is everybody at home, I believe. But no, look, I'll just take the opportunity if I can, mate, just to thank obviously all our sponsors again. Domains2U, Maximum Effort Racing, yourself, Everything Simulated, iRap Designs, Sixpence Coffee. I've got to thank my admin team for everything that they do. They do a lot, obviously, in the background. I've been a little bit MIA lately. I've started a new job and we just moved houses. So this is like a third night in the new house. So I've been away from the control room, I'll call it. But so they've handled it well. Obviously, I want to thank you guys as well, mate. You put a fantastic stream together with all the elements you use, the way you commentate. Biggles, you've had Spud in there. No, you guys do an absolutely fantastic job, and this league definitely wouldn't be where it's at without you guys. I can't miss the race control guys we have as well. We've got Nath, Scott, we've got Pete and Isaac. There's a couple I'd be forgetting as well that have stepped in a little bit during the GT3 season, but no, massive thank you to those guys. What a lot of people don't realise is they're constantly, changing the way they view things, trying to make everything better for the driver themselves, trying to make everything a bit more consistent, just trying to get everything pretty well right. And I think that's the best way to put it. Everyone makes mistakes, especially in race control, but that's why we have an appeal system on a Wednesday night. And obviously, last but not least, thank you to everyone and everyone's partners that will allow us to jump on the sim for a couple hours every night and don't drive us mad for a couple of hours. I'm looking at my partner now, she's just shaking her head.
You're in so much trouble in a moment, mate.
Absolutely, mate. She's sitting back playing Resident Evil. I'm good for now. No, honestly, absolutely, just a massive thank you to you guys as well. You put on an awesome show with the stream and the commentary, man. We can't thank you enough for that.
It's been a pleasure, Mitch. We'll let you go and unwind and enjoy a few weeks of break before we're back at it again with the V8 supercars making their return to MC Motorsport. Cannot wait to bring it all to you. Congratulations on a stellar season all around here with the Domains2U GT3 Championship. Well done, and looking forward to catching up with you again in the new season. Absolutely, mate. No, thanks very much, and hopefully everybody tunes in to the V8 season. I think it'll be a good one this year. It's going to be good. I've got a feeling it's going to be good. So tune into that and don't miss it. So thanks very much, boys. Appreciate it. Mitch Curry, the man himself behind MC Motorsport. Biggles, I reckon Mitch has covered it all there for us. I think he's called out all of the sponsors. He's called out all of the people who make this all tick. But from myself, a huge thank you to you, mate. It's been lovely to have you back in the booth with me again for the better part of this season. Couldn't have done it without you, my friend.
Welcome. You're very welcome. Yep. He called out the more important part, isn't it? The other halves. Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
The more important halves, the partners, of course, that are involved and stuff like that behind the scenes, because that's crucial. Friends and family and all that sort of stuff that get in the chat. That's what makes it fun for us. Of course, up in the commentary box as well, too, to have everybody chime in. Give you two bob. Give who you're supporting, and you make sure you behind the scenes there as well too. We call them out there. We go through them. Those fantastic liveries that everybody's come up with. It's been a cracker of a season. GGs to the JW. You kind of think about it too. Just looking back at the stats, he only won 4 races. Only 4 really at the end of the day, but that's only 4 is more than enough out of 16 starts now to get the job done, and he did. And that's consistency is what he said from his very odd words, isn't it? Consistency is key. And on top of it, you got to look at that. If iRating is not necessarily the biggest thing to go by, but if you're going to count all those drivers that are around him, he has the lowest iRating by far with those drivers. So it goes to show you those numbers just don't make all the difference. At the end of the day, it's consistency of getting those points.
Yeah, iRating only really starts to matter if you're doing officials, ultimately. And Jeremy Washington proving it there. Look, that's going to bring it to a close for the Domains2U GT3 Championship, Season 3 of GT3 Racing with MC Motorsport, the first with a naming rights sponsor. It's been an absolute pleasure. You at home might be thinking, well, what do I do now? What do I do? You take a few weeks off, you rest, you recover, you get ready for the start of the MC V8 series that will be kicking off at the end of June. The important things to do in the meantime, if you haven't already, make sure you jump into the Discord. The link is down below in the YouTube description. Make sure you are subscribed to Simple Racing Broadcast so that you get all of the info on these streams going live. And most of all, make sure you take care of yourself so you're there, ready and healthy and keen to watch some more amazing racing. From everyone here at the Simple Racing Broadcast team, and on behalf of Dean Biggles-Hopton, this is Jared Cole saying thank you so much for sticking with us throughout this season. Can't wait to have you back with us once again as we kick off with the Gen 3s at the end of this month. Until then, stay safe, and it is goodbye for now.